I'm about to have my phone up, Bush.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Hey.
No warning.
Well, I've given you plenty of warning,
No, you
plenty
didn't.
of time.
There was
you know
no
how
warning.
The show goes.
There was no warning.
You know how the show goes.
You've been clicking around for like a half an hour over here, and then like one click, and you're like, oh, we're live. Oh, we're live.
Yeah, well, we are live. Welcome to this show. This is where we talk about the latest comics, recap them, review them, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations of books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. Obviously, we changed our formats a little bit.
Yeah, I keep seeing your hand on my side.
Oh, yeah,
it's like you're attacking me.
I'll try to keep it back. But yeah, so this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching live, you can always help us out by using the super chats. Make a question or comment, write it down, put it in the super chats, and the proceeds go into the infrastructure that allows us to try things like this. This may be the way it goes. This may be the last time you'll ever see it again. So it's chase. It's rare.
I didn't even know this was happening.
No, you didn't.
I saw your tweet. You're like, new format. I'm like, new format?
That's right.
Did I not study for something?
Well, I was thinking about the microphone setup, and I liked the idea of like actually being like a show. Right. I thought about actually introducing a third camera. I'm like, two's enough.
We have enough cameras.
We should be limited to one or less.
I don't like having my own camera.
No, I do. I like it. But yeah, so we're going to jump into them. But before we do, I wanted to address Mr. Brian Rowlands, who says, I can't watch live, but thanks for all the great comic talk, interviews, and everything else you do. An amazing job. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you for your super chat. We really appreciate it, man. And thank you very much for watching and for shouting out the interviews. Those are a lot of fun. They're a source of pride for me, despite the fact that the comic book going audience is just plain not interested, just plumb not down. But if you are down, you should check out the most recent episode of Elseworlds Exchange, where we had Joshua Williamson and Chip Zdarsky interview each other, and I got to sit there and watch. It was a lot of fun.
You chatted.
I did. There's a great quote in there from me that somebody isolated in the comments. Look for it; you'll find it.
Is it at Chip?
Yes.
Okay, I know.
Yes, it's specifically at Chip.
I know what you're talking about.
I know you do.
I'm in the know.
Yes. Well, yeah. Anyway, so. Let's jump into the latest books we've read and that we want to talk about. Tiffany, you want to take it away?
Yeah, even though really you should be talking about
I should be, but like I only read a couple of pages, and I was like, you know what? I will preface it by saying, R.I.P. the Alien franchise for Dark Horse. This may in fact be the last one.
Right.
And I don't even know if it's gonna finish.
I gotta tell you, if not that they'll do this, but if Disney Marvel had any kind of like brain in them, just let Dark Horse keep publishing them, because it's like. They do a good job, but it's also not in line with the type of books you normally put out.
I don't know what Marvel's gonna do. I mean, like, they're obviously gonna put them in the universe, which, like,
right alongside like the Brood and.
Well, I'm okay. I would actually be okay if, because Marvel's like never gonna let them go.
Yeah.
If they were like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. The xenomorphs infect the Brood, kill them, and they're all dead, and we're now just going to use the xenomorphs like we all wanted to when we invented the Brood in the first place.
Right.
That's, I mean, like, I don't know if I like that idea. The Brood have become the kind of their own thing, to the point where there's literally a member of the Brood in the X-Men. I mean, not right now, obviously he's in charge of the Brood, but, you know, they become their own thing.
Right.
And they look at least 25% more distinct from your average xenomorph. But yeah, jump into it. This is the last gasp of the Dark Horse Alien franchise.
So I apologize. You're gonna have to see this a lot, folks. My phone up, but that's how I remember things. The story is by Dan O'Bannon. The adapted script is by Cristiano Ceisas. Sure, that sounds good. And art by Guilherme.
Oh, yeah.
Balby. The art's cool looking, right? I will say, let's just talk about the general feel of this book.
Please. Oh, wait. What is this?
This book is taking the original screenplay for Alien and adapting it into a comic.
That's bold, because Alien is one of those rare, perfect films.
Right.
Where it's like, I wouldn't change a damn thing about it.
Yeah, but it also seems to be almost like an earlier version of it before, like, maybe, like, I'm guessing it's possibly like an original, like, Ridley Scott, like, story.
Right.
Because, like, the names are all different. There are clearly elements of the movie that you know in this.
Yes.
But a lot of things are different. Now, it is an adapted version of the story, and I'm sure the script person for this made some changes here and there.
Naturally.
Certainly with some of the, like, gender of the characters.
Yes.
But, like, gender in Alien has never really mattered.
No.
Like, the original script was written where anybody could have been anything. It didn't care. Like, they didn't care.
Yeah, I didn't know this until we were talking about it, but apparently in the original draft for Alien, it says, like, Parker, Lambert, anyone can be anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Male or female doesn't matter. So,
right.
And in fact, I've heard a number of times that Ripley was originally written to be a man. I would argue that I prefer the former, where it's actually that Ripley could have been man or woman, doesn't matter.
Right.
And they were like, well, we just like Sigourney, so we're going to go female.
Yeah, yeah. That said, I read this even though I'm the one that recommended this last time. I read this thinking it was Alien 3 because they've also done that.
Dark Horse did have a adapted screenplay of the original Alien 3, and really quick shout out, apparently there's an Audible adaptation of that.
Yeah.
On Audible.
Right.
By the way, hey Amazon, I will shill for that. I want to shill for the Alien 3 Audible because they got Lance Henriksen and Michael Biehn to play their respective parts.
Which is awesome. Now, so reading this, I was like, wow, this is drastically different. When are we going to get into the people I know?
Right, because you thought it was Alien 3.
And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Because I'm like, this just reminds me of Alien.
Right. So Alien 3 was just Alien again with new people?
Right, because it was. A couple of key differences here. There was definitely more of these people made a lot of money. Like, this crew made bank, and they're going back to Earth to get that bank, and then go on to lead their lives now all the richer.
Right, and they're not going to do this job anymore. Unlike the original crew, which should seem more, as they called space truckers. This is just their job.
No, this is like, they went out, they did a job, and they, like, struck it rich, and now, like, what, like, they're kind of also crafting a little more backstory for this world. And again, I know some folk are noticing that, like, when I look at Sal, I'm actually looking away from Sal.
Yeah.
But Sal's over here.
I am.
For me. So we'll have to flop these at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be on the left.
Oh, okay.
That's how it would work. That way we'll be looking at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is the cable.
No, I meant just flip the windows.
Oh.
You just put my window on the left.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. You could transition over to the thing first.
Exactly.
Or whatever. Anyway, but in this, like, one of the mentions that, like, they're gonna go back and they're like, do you know if you have enough money you can be a cattle rancher? and I'm like, what? And they're like, they're just like real cows. I'm like, what?
What are you talking about? What's a cattle? Like,
what? Like, what happened to cows? So anyway, much like an Alien, this crew wakes up and they're awakened before they should be. Far before they should be.
Right.
Difference being, like, last time in Alien they get woken up because they get a transmission from
the derelict spacecraft. Yes.
Right. And in this they also get that, but they can actually hear it.
Oh, like it's not encoded or it's not
and it's an alien tongue. And like when they're talking to the ship, which has far better language than like the mother does.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She realizes, or the ship realizes, that like the language that it's speaking, some of the sounds that you can hear are inconsistent with the human palate.
Okay. So people can't make that sound.
Right, so immediately this crew's like, we've made first contact. Which I was like, that's completely different than Alien. Alien, they land, they don't know what they're walking into.
They do think, I mean, like, they know it's an alien when they know it's
when they get there.
jockeys,
But before they even get there, they're like, we've made first contact, this is huge. And some folk are really excited, and some folk on the ship were like, this is a bad idea, we shouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
And now there's a conversation, it's like, all right, should we go and do this, or should we go home, right? And
or call the science division.
Right, and they mention that, and they say it's a good 75 years to get anyone else out here.
Oh, that's new.
Right, that is new.
Now here's the question, though, and I don't want to interrupt, but like, just kind of I want to understand. Does this feel like an original story, like the Star Wars that Dark Horse adapted, which was George Lucas's original screenplay, or is this more like spot the differences between Alien and this?
It's a little bit of both, and because the crew is so drastically different and larger, I think I want to say it's larger. Let's see.
It seemed larger when I glanced at it.
No, I guess it really isn't. It seems like it is, but I'm not sure if everybody's present at this one meeting they have. But so I guess it's similar. The look of it definitely has more of a Prometheus feel.
That's a shame.
It is. No, I agree. Like, it's like they've gone to those more slick helmets that we've seen in some of the more recent franchises.
Chunky.
Yeah, everything's much more slimmed down and very modern instead of this.
Right.
Or instead of what we're used to. Yeah. Characters are all different. Everybody has different names. For me,
names?
Everybody's different names. And so now, like, I'm trying to, like, I'm like,
who is who?
Who do I think is this? Immediately, I was like, I bet that's
Ash.
That's Ash. That's the android. Like, that's who it is. Like, that's my guess. Like, I have, like, one individual is like, we have to do this. Like, first contact. Like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
now, are they still part of the science division?
Not necessarily. Like, everyone here works for the ship. I don't think anyone is an outside individual.
What's the name of the company?
They haven't mentioned it.
Okay.
So anyway, regardless, they end up deciding to do it. They land on this planetoid. It's not a full planet. It's a very small planetoid.
That makes sense based on what LV-426 is, which is a rock.
Right. Right. And, like, they say that there's no life out there. The atmosphere is not toxic, but it's not breathable.
It was the same as before.
Yeah, and when they get there, like, there's storms going on, but it's dust storms, similar. And when they land, the storms blow so much dust it messes up some of their cells. I guess their solar cells, which again we saw in, was it Covenant or Prometheus?
I think it was Covenant.
Yeah, I was like,
damn it.
So, like, that, like, to me indicates, like, if this is an earlier draft of the script, then some of the stuff that we saw in Prometheus and Covenant may have been there always.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, so, like, they're stuck on the planet until they get that solved. So, naturally, there's one person who is, eager to go out there, which I was like, oh, it's John Hurt. Like,
Right.
That's the John Hurt character.
Yes.
Eager to get out there, like, volunteers to go on the mission, like, ready to go. Captain also goes, someone else goes. They go to the ship. The ship does look different, but similar to the derelict that they find. But, like, more,
it does look similar.
It's similar, but it's more spines. It's more what we'll see from the xenomorphs later on, like in Aliens. I feel like externally.
Like the internal tunnels that they make.
Yeah, and, like, you get in there and it looks exactly like that.
Okay.
And then they grapple up, of course, to where the space jockey would be, and the space jockey has a vastly different look.
Good.
It is. They call it a skeleton. Not a suit of armor.
Right.
They say it's a skeleton, which is what we saw.
I think they said it was a skeleton in Alien as well.
We assumed it was wearing a suit.
Right. Well, no, we knew that we assumed.
Oh,
that
yeah. No, you're right. Yes.
No.
So, like, they are saying that it is a skeleton, though. But this time it has more of a, like, almost like Metropolis vibe. You know what I mean? With, like, the additional, like, things shooting out. I'm not talking about Superman Metropolis. I'm talking about
Fritz Lang's Metropolis.
Yeah. With that, like, gaunt. Like, not, obviously they're not androids or anything like that, but that's what it makes me think of. And it's huge.
Right, as it should be.
It is gigantic. So they're looking around. They do, like, find the distress beacon, and then I believe they go back, and they're like, okay. Like, to the ship. They're like, what's the next step, essentially?
Okay.
So it's like, do I get shades of like, Alien? Sure. I honestly don't know how they're going to get to the end, and honestly what the end is going to look like.
Yeah.
Because this crew is very different. But a lot of, like, sameness in terms of, like, some people are eager, some people want to get out.
Yeah.
But the, like, emphasis on, like, alien first contact is very, like,
different.
Very different.
Yeah, because they didn't care. They were space truckers. Only Ash was the member of the science division. He was, like, a last-minute replacement. But the idea was they're supposed to have a scientist on, but you gotta have somebody who represents the science division of the company.
Yeah.
And who, like, knows how to fix stuff and analyze things. Because you're going in space, you're gonna run into some kind of crazy crap.
No, it's true. By the way, also tying it to those Prometheus, Covenant, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They mentioned that before they leave, they're like, one guy's like, we gotta map this and hologram it. Like, you know what I mean?
God
like, I'm
damn
like, it's there. And for folk who like that, this might be right up your alley. For folk who just like Alien, you might want to, like, read this just because of the fact that it is an original version of it, and just to see where it started from and where it ended up.
Yes.
Again, the tech is more new looking. Like, everything's really like missing that, like.
Well, and as a comic book, who cares?
I know.
You know, in today's world, like, would it be, I guess, technically harder to get your CG department or whatever company you subscribe to replicate 1970s technology? Would it be jarring for the modern audience who's used to holograms and J.J. Abrams' Star Trek? Yeah. But I think that it's like, you know, with a comic book, you could just draw it and no one's going to argue.
Right. Sorry. That was the vet.
Was that the vet?
That was definitely the vet. I just hung up on them.
No.
I should have taken it.
Yeah, right?
No, but for those who know that we have cats, all the cats are fine. We were doing a follow-up on some Ripley drops for her ears. Yeah. But he can leave me a message and I will listen to it.
Exactly.
Or he'll call back in a moment. Who knows? Exciting times over here.
I doubt it.
But suffice it to say, like, it's different. But it's also like, if you didn't realize, let's just say we gave you these pages as you were reading this, like if you didn't know what the title was. No, if you didn't know what the title of this was, if I just was like, here are some pages without any context.
Here's the latest Boom book.
Right? You would be like, this reminds me of Alien.
This is Alien.
Yeah, but it wouldn't quite be it. It's like a cracked mirror version of it.
Okay.
So
this is actually part of the a thing that Dark Horse had been doing. They did it with the Star Wars. They're doing it with Alien 3. They did it with Alien. And they were going to do it with Predator.
Right, okay.
Because, of course, the original Predator design was he looked more like a lizard/plant monster.
Sure.
All the way up to when Jean-Claude Van Damme played him as a stunt double running around the jungle. By the way, apparently, the reason why they didn't stick with Jean-Claude Van Damme wasn't because of his acting prowess, but because he was just too short. When they went down to the final confrontation between Predator and Arnold, they were like, get the hell out of here, tiny guy. Let's get Kevin Peter Hall in here. I think it's Kevin Peter Hall. I know he plays the Alien. I don't remember if he plays the Predator.
There you go.
Point being, they were going to do that, but that book, I don't think there was actually an official announcement from Dark Horse that it was canceled, but it was removed from everyone's pull lists and pre-orders.
Okay.
Although, like, a lot of comic shops had been saying Predator was canceled. But there is art, and there was a beautiful cover that was very similar to the one for Alien.
I wonder if they will work out a deal where they don't publish it as individuals, but maybe they publish it as
a graphic
trade,
novel. I hope so. I hope they at least retained the rights to publish those things, because if it's done, if Alien is done, if Predator's done, put it out.
Yeah. So suffice to say, I'm not gonna lie, I started reading this and it really held me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's the greatest thing ever. I think I will still prefer Alien in its original cinematic form.
Yeah.
But this is cool.
Or even in its Walt Simonson comic book form.
Yes, even in that form. But seeing this is kind of neat. It is jarring though to see it done with such modern sensibilities.
Yes. I remember reading The Star Wars, and it was horrible.
I read a little bit of it, I think. It was so boring,
and I honestly think it had less to do with the premise and more to do with the fact that it was written by George Lucas.
That's fair.
With no editing.
Right.
See, because Lucas edited great stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if it's his wife. That's the only movie to win an Oscar, by the way. But... for writing, I should say.
Yeah, but still.
Or editing. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, in the Super Chats, Fat Snorlax, all you guys can look at it directly at each other. Thanks for the show. It's true. We're not looking directly at you, unfortunately, but I'm
trying to.
Yeah.
But then,
occasionally I'll cheat
the chat's over here, so I'm like...
Do you have it on your phone?
No, I don't. I didn't have it open on my phone.
Oh, well, I opened it. Which is why I can read these Super Chats. Like Luke Brady's, who said, sent the family to bed for the UK late night hashtag off the rack. Good for you.
Night.
Yeah, nights. What do you think of the current Captain Marvel series? Enough character rehabilitation? I don't know. I haven't read it. I'm honestly just waiting for them to get a grip on Carol, and I feel like Marvel's eventually just going to say enough's enough and go okay, we're just going to hire somebody like Al Ewing or somebody massive to just be fix her.
Right.
Fix her definitively, because she was in such limbo. They released that Life of Captain Marvel book, which you can't even give that book away today. And it was just this retcon of her origins.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was. The covers were great.
The covers were very Norman Rockwell kind of esque.
Yeah, which I think they were trying to get the implication.
Like Americana.
Yeah, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
It just, the book didn't grip me, and the origin, I'm meh. But yeah, I'm just waiting for them to get and then they were okay, nobody read that, and then they did this, and then the other thing, and then finally they're maybe she's evil, or maybe that's a clone or whatever, and now she's the accuser, and it's there's too much change too soon, and it's been like that for almost a decade.
Right.
They just I'm not gonna buy Captain Marvel.
They can't commit to any sort of
direction
for the character.
Yeah, and I won't buy Captain Marvel until they say we screwed up. We're gonna stick to this. This is her from now on, or at least for the foreseeable future, because no one at Marvel can be that way. Can be one way for too long. Ron Caterasano sending some cash. Also, you have the best hats.
Thank you so much. Do you mind if I go check this voicemail to make sure that we're not being inappropriate?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Giggles also helps us out. Thank you very much, Mr. Giggles. And Raj Patel. Hey, Sal and Tiffany. Just found out there is a recall notice on onions in 43 states, and it was just issued in Edison Township. stay safe in Jersey. We will. Thank you very much, Raj. I'll be sure to keep an eye out for any onions. We actually didn't go grocery shopping over the last 2 weeks, so we're all good. So I'll keep an eye out. But thank you very much. That's going to be in the back of my mind. I'm like, somebody told me to avoid onions. I'm happy to hear it seems like we're good.
We're good. We have to keep doing the drops till the end of the week.
Oh.
Do you know how fun it is to put drops into your cat's ears?
Yes.
It's super fun.
I do. It's not.
They love it.
Yeah. So I read Empire again.
Okay.
I know I said I wouldn't, but I did.
Oh wait, is this actually? Oh, I didn't read it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I read the X-Men one.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I can talk to you about that.
You read the Empire tie-in.
I did.
Yeah. I read the actual series, which, by the way, next week another issue. Gotta say, Marvel's been pretty on point when it comes to their events, like putting them out on time.
Sure, and like that's a huge thing.
It is a huge thing.
Like,
It's a big deal.
Yeah, especially in these times of uncertainty. But prior to leading up to like these release schedules, like nobody was getting comics, or they're coming out sporadically, and it's like, I guess they use that time.
Yeah, exactly. Al Ewing, Dan Slott wrote it. Valerio Schiti did the art. So this is just continuing the same crap you were reading before. The whole issue is in a tie-in, Hulkling got swapped out, and he's not doing a very convincing job.
Oh, that Hulkling tie-in that we didn't read, like, gave that very, like,
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I know that he got married, and that was one of the big deals. They were like, Wiccan and Hulkling got married. They were somebody like a couple of comic news sites were like, let's create more speculation, quick, buy up all these tie-ins because it's the first gay wedding in a Marvel comic in a long time.
Okay.
I'm like, in a long time though. It's not.
Right,
it's not like North Star's wedding, which was the first gay wedding in a comic.
That said, like, a lot of people like their relationship, so I can understand why people might want to grab that. Unfortunately, it is, of course, intrinsically tied to this event, as opposed to just being a natural.
Yeah, but that's Marvel
step
to a
in
T.
their
Yeah, everything's tied into an event.
But you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, instead of just being a natural progression of their relationship, it's like, it's part of an event, so if you like their relationship, you're gonna have to buy it.
Yep. Yeah.
So, unless you don't have to buy it, because you don't have to buy it.
It's that's what happens with Hulkling. You know, the 50% of the Fantastic Four were left behind. They were like, oh, you're not acting like Hulkling, and then they teleport them away, and they end up being teleported at Wiccan's house, and they're like, this is what happened. Wiccan's like, well, that's not Hulkling.
No.
I married him, and they're like, right on. Meanwhile, She-Hulk. You remember when She-Hulk was like turned back to normal if she was given a hammer that was used by
and the thing I said that was going to turn her into a weapon of some kind
them? It turns out that the Katati can use the living mammal bodies as husks, and that's their like overall plan for the human race. They're going to live in us, but they got to kill you first. So She-Hulk's dead. Husks. Now, what would happen if they...
She-Hulk's just dead?
She died.
They just kind of fixed her?
Yeah, they fixed her to die. Because, of course, I don't know if anybody heard, but Al Ewing is doing a solo tie-in book called Immortal She-Hulk. So, obviously, Al Ewing is pulling She-Hulk, Jen Walters, into the Immortal Hulk mythology. Of course, the idea being that Hulk can't die. Every time that Bruce Banner dies, Hulk is resurrected. So, like, we're bringing that into play. She-Hulk is dead. She'll be dead for a hot second. But for right now, the Katati inside of her is using She-Hulk's power and body as a vessel, but She-Hulk's totally dead. And because I know that, like, there's the Immortal Hulk, and there's an upcoming Immortal She-Hulk coming up, we know that, like, it's pretty assured that Jen Walters is dead. So, this book killed Jen Walters. Actually, she died like a couple issues ago, but she's still dead. Also, Iron Man made a Fantastic Four Iron Man armor. Because there's no way that Al Ewing didn't read that.
But they get married here.
No, that's just a page that shows you that it happened.
Oh.
But
then they basically got married here.
Well, it alludes to that, but the wedding is actually in another book.
Okay.
But yeah, they must have read that What If New Fantastic Four book. Because, of course, we made reference to it in the Jason Aaron Avengers run. The idea that if you, like, are smart enough or have technology enough, you can get inside a dead Celestial and use it like armor.
Yeah.
In this issue, we see that Iron Man is making Fantastic Four blue armor,
right,
like he wore in that issue.
Right.
Just bringing it back. It's not really, but I'm just throwing it out.
Right.
But yeah, it's the same old, same old. I have no.
It is, and I know like some folk are like it's a twist, but it's like.
Meh.
Literally, I said she was going to be a weapon for them, and in a way, she is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was as soon as they were like giving her things.
Well, and once they told you that the hammers controlled your mind, it was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that happened.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened. The issue flowed better than the last issue.
That's cool. That's cool.
It is a better issue than the last. This will feel more like. I don't know, like No Surrender or No Road Home when it's all collected. I'm sure that because even in those two events, which I did like, and were also co-written by Al Ewing, and also came out on time. There are a couple of dips and dives throughout that series. Good series overall. Right. There are a couple of chapters where you're like, we didn't really need this.
Right. Okay.
But otherwise, I'm like, yeah, cool, nice stuff. Like overall, if last week I said don't buy the series. You can continue to not buy it. You literally don't need this book.
Yeah.
You don't need most of the tie-ins, and the fact is, the series will still come out, and you are not putting anybody out of work.
No, but if you like it,
buy it. No, but that's the case for everything.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I only have so much money, and I really can't afford, but I don't want to miss out on this event. You're not. No one cares. Oh, also they ripped off the Infinity War fight.
What?
Yeah, the Katati are coming.
Yeah,
and a bunch of faceless monsters, and Black Panther yells Bombay, and they get the whole thing all over again. Yay! I saw that movie too. Haha, good call.
You know what though? But that is I still like seeing that image, especially with Black Panther leading. I like seeing him lead, and so I'm happy to see it again. Yeah. I didn't because I didn't read the issue, but that's cool, and it does make me
It's just that when I see it and it's just the movie, it kills me. Like that moment in Infinity, when Thor kneels before the whatever the hell they were called, and uses Mjolnir to wrap around the moon and he plows through the dude.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a brilliant moment. Everyone loves it. I love it, but it's soured because his antagonist quotes Loki from the Avengers movie. He says, "Is this not your natural state?" I'm like, don't rip off the movie.
Right.
You could paraphrase that in a better way. And you're Jonathan Hickman. You could have come up with something better than that.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
I'm not saying Hickman did this, but I'm saying don't rip off the movie. And if you're gonna rip off the movie, put your spin on it. Don't just do the movie.
Yeah.
You're the comic book. You have a $600 million budget in 20 pages. Use it.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Logan Shirley says, do you think it's possible that Jen has been dead since Civil War II and the Hulk version of She-Hulk has been a sleeper agent the whole time? No. And the only reason why I say that is because they literally go into her mind in the Hulk, the Gray series.
Right.
Although her brain is technically there, they would have to do some clever retconning or just completely bank on the fact that nobody bought that book, which would be fair. It's 50-50. It's 50-50 on that.
Right.
But I also think that there's no way they couldn't and shouldn't use this opportunity to bring back She-Hulk.
Okay.
In all her glory.
Yeah. Or maybe they'll wait.
The Builders, thank you, that's what they're called. Or wait, yeah.
But they won't, because if Ewing's gonna use her.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, that'd be cool.
Well, Ewing's gonna use her because he should. He's been playing with all of Hulk's mythology, all the players. He should use Jen Winters. So, that's a thing. So what do you you got anything else?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I know you do.
I also I didn't prep myself here. What's the matter with me? I read Doctor Strange this week.
Hey!
The last one.
What?
For right now. Listen, I'm not surprised. I know folk like the series. A lot of folk like the series. I know a lot of folk didn't like the series. But regardless of that, if a comic book company is going to be trimming back their titles, you can bet your boots that the supernatural ones are always the first to go.
Yes.
Because they're a niche.
Yeah.
You're a superhero comic book company that's focusing on mystical, supernatural, magical characters. You have a small portion of your comic book reading audience reading those. Yes. They're gonna get cut.
Right.
They're always gonna get cut.
Yep. It doesn't pay to be.
And we've seen Ghost Rider is now
Ghost Rider got canceled.
Yeah,
yep.
There is a book that came out.
Did you see? Yeah,
I didn't read it.
We didn't talk about it.
We didn't read it.
Ed Brisson got to do because you. Okay, so what were you lamenting? Like they canceled Ghost Rider.
They canceled Ghost Rider, and my biggest issue was I was like, they're like Lilith. Here she is. Remember Lilith? Remember her? Remember she caused a huge problem back in like the 90s. Woo! Here's all these things. We gotta deal with all this other crap first. Then we're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, we got canceled.
Oh,
and
canceled.
I'm like,
and I think you didn't read that issue or like the last one.
I read the last Ghost Rider. They do nothing.
And they do nothing with Lilith.
They do nothing with Lilith. They're like, I gotta take care of some other things, and then we gotta deal with Lilith. And I'm like, but you're not,
right? Because you're canceled. There's no more book.
So they did like an issue with her, and I haven't read it. I'm gonna grab it at some point just to see what they do with it.
But they released like a totally separate book that's a one shot that is called, I think, Ghost Rider Lilith or something.
I think it's like, I thought it was called like the Demon Queen or something like that. I don't know, and I don't know if it's just gonna be a story about her. I don't know if it was a book that was always intended on coming out. So I don't know what it does, but like that exists. But so you see, Ghost Rider gets canceled, and now Doctor Strange, Surgeon Supreme is over for now.
Yep.
Does that mean that that there's no more Doctor Strange? I don't know. I don't know what their plans are right now. But I think for now, you know, if you're looking to trim back, like I said, your smaller portion of your audience is reading a magical character who doesn't have a movie out right now.
Right. But will, and people are hyped for it. So
yeah. So like, I'm not saying it's done for good. He's done for now.
Right.
And he may be done, like, I mean, technically Strange Academy is still going on.
Yeah, and he might appear a little more.
He might appear a little bit more over there because they'd have the right to use him a little more because he would be present there. Yeah. And that one probably, I don't know what's going to happen with that book.
No.
You know, you
probably get canceled.
But you do have Scotty Young on it, and it is more of an all ages, young adult style book, and so you tap into another audience there.
It'd be smart
because you have like new characters who like people don't have to know the histories for in order
the
to
Young
jump
Justice
into
effect,
it.
where it's like, don't worry about sale. Like they should have done the same thing with Champions as they did with you know, the latter West Coast Avengers.
Yeah.
Like where it's like it doesn't matter how bad the book is selling, but if it's selling over 10,000 copies.
Yeah.
You're reaching an audience with these youthful characters. It's the Young Justice effect. It's what they did. It was the directive at DC when they launched Young Justice. They're like, this is the new reader's book. This is the book that's going to build the foundation of people who are going to read DC in the next 10 years. And we need to put it out regardless of how it's selling because we know that the people who are going to buy it are going to keep buying these characters.
Yeah.
Of course, then 10 years later, those people did become fans.
Right.
And all the DC editorial could do is shit on them by marginalizing Bart and Dick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and Tim and everybody else.
Yeah.
Connor. And you know, but it worked is my point.
Yeah, and so
that's the thing with Strange Academy. You could do the same thing,
right? But again, it's magic versus just superheroes.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like,
where's Jerry Duggan's Doctor Strange book?
I don't know. That's the natural like progression. But maybe he doesn't want the character. Maybe he doesn't want that.
That's
maybe he's looking for something else.
Yeah, I heard a story about a very prolific writer who made a lot of money and a lot of bones at a company, one of the two, and he had a pitch for a very popular character. And he just didn't have anything. You know, like when you pitch it at a writer's room, people are asking questions. They not to poke holes in their boat, but also to like just to hammer out the story or to get an idea about where you want to go with the character. Right. He just didn't have answers for them, and it was just like not only was that a good indication that it was time for him to go, but it was really a good indication that it was not a good fit for that writer and character. So you're absolutely right. I'm sure Marvel's tried.
They might have,
where they were like, anyone want to do Doctor Strange, and they got a good strong story.
Again, Strange is one of those characters who like if they don't just grab another like title for him and just want to get weight off of it. Yeah. Then we'll see him more in Strange Academy until that's over. Or we will see him back
in a new Doctor Strange
new book when the movie's coming out. Like on the road to that movie's like launch, you'll see Strange back.
Absolutely.
So like I'm like oh I do kind of like I always like reading books with him even if I'm not digging them 100% just because I like the character.
Yep.
Which is like both good and bad because it's like means I'm doing that thing where I'm not really telling them what I like except for out loud here.
Right. And that doesn't translate to sales. They don't care.
No, they don't care. But. So there you go. It does. I'm going to tell you about the book a little bit, but like this does make me concerned for Conan.
Yes.
That's my worry right now.
But Conan, the fact is like
there's a lot of Conan books.
Yeah.
Conan is super saturated in the marketplace right now, and so like I'm starting to wonder if they're pulling back from folk like Doctor Strange who have had a movie recently.
Yeah.
Are they going to start pulling Conan back, and which ones are they going to cull?
Right.
Like, which ones
pun intended.
which ones are they going to be taking away, and are they the right ones?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Plus, also, Conan had, like, what, 2 failed events?
Yeah.
The Battle for the Serpent Crown?
That's still going on. It was the other one.
Yeah.
He did the one where it was the crossover with some of the other...
That was the Zub book.
Yes.
Which, by the way... Great writer.
It's a good
guy.
book. It's a good book. It's a deep dive into some characters you don't
cut.
know necessarily.
And if you're gonna be like, I don't know who that is.
Right. But it'll be interesting to see if the Aaron, like, King Conan book ends up coming out.
I hope it does.
It's Aaron, so
yeah, they'll give him a book.
But if they're seeing Avengers sales right now, they may not be as hyped. I don't know.
They probably won't invest in Aaron King Conan like they did in Thor.
That's fine. I mean, like, here's the thing: like, Aaron writes Conan beautifully, so like I will be right there with my money ready to buy it.
Totally.
So let's talk about Doctor Strange, the last issue of the Surgeon Supreme, number 6, written by Mark Waid and Kev Walker, with art by Kev Walker. I will say I felt like this book was some of Kev Walker's best, and probably because maybe he knew where this was going, but I'm not 100% when they got the notice on that. Honestly,
most of it. What issue is this? 6?
6.
They don't usually cancel books at 6.
Well, this is the end of the arc.
Right. Yeah.
This is literally, they finished their arc, and so they're definitely leaving a whole bunch of hanging threads, which low-key drive me crazy because I really liked the what is Dr. Druid doing with Weird World? Why does he care?
Yeah.
We'll never know.
No, you'll know in about 10 years.
We'll never know.
Because Mark Waid did that whole mini-series, remember, it's about 10, 15 years ago?
I know, and then she came back, but that was like barely anything. He didn't really develop it.
Because he didn't really care.
Yeah. So anyway, this finishes up the, like, Madame Mask stealing stuff from Strange's Forge and, like, what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how other people felt about this. I thought, like, while I didn't necessarily love this series, and I didn't really love Wade Strange prior to this, right. I felt like this was going in the right direction, and this issue was maybe my favorite.
That's a shame.
It is a shame, because honestly, this issue is like, why is Madame Mask even involved?
Right, what are you doing with Madame Mask?
Why is she here?
Why'd you pick Madame Mask?
Well, they gave a really great reason, and basically she talks about, like, blue oceans and red oceans, which I didn't know what that was. It's a business term where, like, a red ocean is like a super saturated market that you have, like, no ability to get in, and a blue ocean is a market you create drive for.
Oh.
And so she was like,
I never heard of that.
I did either. And she's like, I used to be an arms dealer. Like, that's what I was gonna do. But like, everybody's doing that, and there's literally no wiggle room there.
Right.
Like, you can't get in there, and like, I don't know if I wanted to. So instead, what I did was I created a magical arms market. I created my own, like, industry and like need for it.
Right. Yeah. She created the demand.
Yeah. And her whole thing has nothing to do with Strange.
Okay.
Because in this, Madame Mask and Tony Stark have slept together. Yeah. She's in love with him in a crazy way.
Okay, cool.
So she's like, no, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to, like, Tony.
Oh my God. She stole his business format. She's like, I'll be an arms dealer like he used to.
Yeah. And then, like, so I'll do that. And then he'll fall in love with me and, like, we'll end up together.
No.
And, like, she's, like, telling Dr. Druid all this. And at first I was like, she's just telling him everything. And I'm like, this is so, like, hackney. And then I was like, oh no, she's crazy.
Right.
That's actually smarter than I realized it was.
Yeah, because otherwise just tell, don't show.
And he's, like, listening to this. And, like, Strange is also listening on this. And he's like, okay. Whoa.
Don't call Tony.
Don't tell Tony. Which is funny.
I feel like he might be into it.
Because don't forget, Wade's series where Strange went into space started with him talking to Tony Stark and getting out there. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. Kind of brought it back around. We never see Tony in this.
Yeah.
We kind of see Tony in this. Not really. I'll explain why.
Okay.
But basically, like, Strange is like, okay, the whole city is, like, turned against him, this magical city that they're in, because she offers, like, a ridiculous sum of, like, money to the person who brings her Strange.
Okay.
And so, like,
I'm just imagining what her plan is with Strange.
So I don't know.
Assume it's like, I'm gonna chain him up in the back, and I'm gonna make him, like, enchant mystical artifacts for me.
I think she just wants to get rid of him because she's like, he's gonna ruin everything.
That's fair.
So, like, he's just trying to make his way through the city, and he's like, okay, well, I know how to stop this based on what she said. And, like, this is where I'm like, this is Wade doing, like, a very classic sort of Marvel magic fix. Where it's like, oh, and here's how we're going to fix it.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't be mad at you about that because we've seen that before, and it's like, it's pretty clever. He's just like, knowing her, there's no way she doesn't have some sort of kill switch in these weapons so that people don't come after her and attack her with them, thus taking her business.
You mean the little red button on the bottom of the gun?
Yeah, just push that. But he's like, it has to be a spell. And he's like, and I was in her head basically for like a hot second, and like, there's, oh no, Dr. Druid was. And like, he's like, there is a spell, but it's not like a magical spoken spell.
Okay.
It's a series of 3 images that she needs to remember in order, but he couldn't see them.
Okay.
And so like, they meet up, and basically the plan is Strange is going to astral project into her mind.
Okay.
And he's gonna find it, but his body, of course, will be left
vulnerable.
Like undefended. So he's like, have Dr. Druid do it, and like, Steven takes care of the city attacking him basically by going to like, there's like this magical device that keeps it so that like anyone in the city who shows up has like whatever they need, because people are coming from all different dimensions. So like, how do you create an environment where everyone can breathe? Well, this thing does it. So he reduces the magic of it by like 90%. So like,
people are getting headaches.
They can't. They're struggling to breathe.
Okay.
Not Madame Mask, because her mask obviously doesn't care
sure.
of that for her.
I don't really know how the mask works.
So so Strange like runs into Dr. Druid, and like, he's like, all right, like in Steven's head, he's like, I'm gonna have to like trust this guy.
Yeah.
To like, you know, to be able to like protect me, but like, he's been acting weird, and at times he's been a villain, and what am I gonna do about that? Right.
Yeah. I think I've heard him say that before.
Right.
A couple of times this series.
And noted that since the atmosphere is so depleted, they can't talk, so they've been using Dr. Druid's like mind magic to communicate. So Dr. Druid's like, dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
You don't trust me?
I hear you.
Yeah.
And he's like,
oh. Sorry. Oops.
He's like,
forget a kiss.
So basically, like, Strange is like, listen, I'm a jerk.
Yeah. Listen.
Well, because like, he's like, and like, he's mad at me because like, he could have been the Sorcerer Supreme, and like, the Ancient One didn't pick me, like, him over me, and like, blah blah blah. And he's like, not everyone wants to be Stephen Strange, okay?
Oh my god.
And like,
fun.
Steve's like, okay.
That's really cool, because that also gets you into the mind of Doctor Strange in a way that you normally can't.
Yeah.
Without like the thought bubbles.
I know. I like it. Well, it is the thought bubbles, which is funny because you're the reader reading it, and you're like, oh, cool. And then Dr. Druid's like, I'm also reading it with you, reader. I'm also right there with you.
That's really cool.
So Druid's like, listen, you're a dick, but like, we got to get out of this together. I will protect you.
Yeah.
And so like, he does, and Strange goes in, and like, this is where I was like, this is cool, because it's messed up. Strange goes into her mind. He finds this really dark place, and like, he finds this like hole basically, and when he gets there, it's all the Iron Man suits leading into Tony's face with an open mouth, which is the entryway into where she keeps her secrets.
Oh my god.
He's like, and he just goes, dear God.
Dear God.
Dear God.
That art is amazing.
It's really good.
Damn it.
It's so good. Like, I was like soft on Kev Walker earlier. Like, he wasn't really like.
Well, maybe he only has like like he is really like.
I think he just needed like the time. Like lately, he's just been getting stronger, and I think he got comfortable with it, and I think it was in a good place.
Yeah.
So anyway, he finds this like house, this like, you know, suburban house where I guess they would live or whatever, and like, he goes in and he finds her room there, and he's like, Dr. Drew lied to me. There's no pictures here. And he looks up on the wall, and like, there are 3 images of like Iron Man drawn like crudely as like it's 4. Of like a bear and like a dog with Tony's face on them, and so he thinks of them and therefore shuts her down basically. And like, by the way, at one point like Dr. Druid like disarms her, like somehow he uses magic to like get her gun away.
Okay.
And then he's like, you're defenseless, you have no weapons. She's like, my whole body's a weapon. And she just kicks him in the face. He's like, I don't deal with this stuff. Like, we're all like doing this over here.
Right.
You're kicking
and punching me in the face.
Don't do that.
Ow.
What is this? Don't
damn it.
Don't throw things. So basically, like, at the end of the day, like, they stop her. And then, like, Strange is like, listen.
That was messed up.
Well, part of him wants to kill her because she killed his dwarf friend.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's like, you deserve no better than this.
Right.
But I also can't do that.
I've been in your mind, I kind of feel bad for you.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you're sick.
Right.
Like, you're a sick individual, and I can't, like, no. So he's like, here's what I'm gonna do, and he like conjures the mask.
You're my patient now.
No, he conjures a mask like of I almost want to say Madripoor, but that's only because I was playing Avengers the other day. It's the mask of something of Moriand, which he's like, switch out the masks. This will fix you. Like, if you put this on, it'll help you, and you can let go of like Tony, basically.
And she doesn't want to.
Well, because like he's like, basically, you will be hunted by everyone
that you wronged,
because like you gave everybody these weapons, and when we did the kill switch, it
went
killed
away,
all of them.
Yeah,
so that you will not like that. People will be hunting you to the ends of the earth
and
beyond,
and dimensionally, yeah.
And so she's like, "No, I'm not going to do that," and she just throws herself out the window.
Oh my god.
And I'm like,
that's so sad.
It's so sad. And then like Strange is like, well, we did it. Like, hey man.
Hey, we did it.
Hey, we did it. Like Dr. Druid, like, let me buy you a drink or some coffee and apologize to you for being an asshole, basically. Right. And then like, basically like, you know, you're left thinking like, you know, Steven's like talking about like, oh, I thought you were blah, 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 blah. And like, you see this image of Dr. Druid where it's like, clearly we would have gotten an image of Dr. Druid doing something that would indicate to you that he was nefarious or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we don't. It's just
he just leaves.
Yeah, he just leaves with them.
That sucks.
And so the story does have an end.
Yes.
You know, Strange gets his forge back. He was getting those like messages from someplace else. We don't know where those are coming from. We don't know what Dr. Druid wanted with Weird World. We don't know where he like stood in terms of like good or bad.
Right.
Like neutral. I don't know. We do get a letter at the end that, like, at least Mark Waid and Kev Walker got to write letters about it.
Yep.
I actually really liked Kev Walker's letter. It's really sweet because he talks about how, like, Doctor Strange was his dad's favorite. And, like, Steve Ditko was his dad's favorite artist. And so, like, he felt like it was a lot to live up to.
Aww.
And I was like, that's so heart-wrenching. And, like, in this issue, like, you just feel like he just, like, it's like he gave everything.
Aww.
And I don't know when they found out that the book was going to be canceled. But I thought this was a strong finish to the 6 issues that, like, I was kind of lukewarm on. I would love to have seen where this series was going.
Yeah. Yeah. That's too bad.
So, I didn't spend so much time on that, but since that's it for right now.
That's cool.
Until we get, like, another, you know, previews of, like, hey, here comes some more Doctor Strange.
He's back!
Yeah. He's back with a new team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, if you were trade waiting, you will be able to, and it'll just be this, I'm sure.
It'll be very thin, and it'll be like
$25.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Do you recommend it?
This issue?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, I don't know what was so different. I don't know why there's such inconsistency in Wade's writing throughout this whole series. So, but this issue, I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah. Luke Brady says, every time I hear anyone mention Lilith, the only person I see is Frasier's wife. Come to think of it, not bad casting.
Right? Oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I was thinking
back then,
yeah, that actually works really, really well.
Right?
I was trying to conjure an image in my head of what she looked like.
Right.
Yeah, I can see it.
The Ty that Geiler 13 says, I just watched the Zdarsky Williamson interview today, and it was fantastic.
Yay!
You continue to be my favorite channel out there.
Aww.
Non-stop great content.
That's
Thank you
so
very
sweet.
much. And also, we have one more from Duckcade. Glad to see you safe and back with power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we lost power in the studio. You can actually go to our Instagram.com/ComicPopOfficial. See a little video of us with no power. Channel's gotten me back into the fandom, and my Tomasi Batman and Robin collection is growing. Thanks, guys.
Nice. That's awesome.
Tomasi wrote a little backup in the Dark Knights Death Metal Dark Knights Legends book that we'll talk about. It's cool. I'm surprised that Snyder gave Tomasi that much room. And Steve Corona says, new fan here. Hey, Steve.
Hi.
I didn't recognize your name, so welcome to the fold. I've found you off of a retweet and have been binging your vids all week. I'm already bought some trades on recommendations. Cheers.
That's
nice.
Awesome.
Let us know what they are, and in the episode, if you have a YouTube channel or account, just comment on the episode and be like, this is the book I bought because of this episode, and I will see it.
That's awesome.
Also,
that's cool that it's from a retweet.
Yeah,
Social media works.
Yeah, that's really unexpected. I'll tell you that. But thank you.
Man.
Thank you. Welcome. We're looking forward to seeing big things from you, Steve. Deadpool number 6. Did you read this?
Yeah. The series I've been reading from issue 1.
I know, but I read it first. Well, because I was like, I read this issue first. But yeah, the premise is just Deadpool is like, screw Krakoa.
Yeah,
it seems really arbitrary.
No, this seems in keeping with they kind of were we just dealt with like the whole Kraven thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, sure, at some point they have to acknowledge the fact that like,
yeah, the Deadpool isn't in Hickman's run. Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, like it's like Deadpool's rationale in this issue seemed really kind of like left field, unexpected.
The way it
seemed really like superficial.
I guess that is everything he does.
Right.
And like that's how like he's been written in this, and so like for me this wasn't really out of character for him.
Yeah. And I'm not reading the series, so to me it seemed really like forced.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah.
So in this they do mention the fact that it's like he's only a mutant because of the movies.
Well, people think he's a mutant because
right.
of the movies. Yes. So yeah, the premise is just like Deadpool, who right now is king of Long Island, Staten Island, which is now Monster Island.
Yes.
Decides, screw it, I want to have the cure for cancer. I hear that they have the cure for cancer over there. I'm going to go over there and get it.
Right.
So,
but also he wants to be invited.
Well, yeah, he's pissed that like he's not an X-Men character anymore, which is fair. Because he is, or has been, or has been considered. He's a larger universe Marvel character, but at the same time, he's pissed that he has been left out. He's been excluded. The X-Men are going through like a revitalization, and he's on the cutting room floor.
Right. They've got an island. He's got an island. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, right. They should be bosom buddies.
Island pals.
This is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Kevin Libranda.
Yeah.
The best part of this series is actually Deadpool playing cards. With Nightwolf.
This is a thing that he uses. He has this pack of cards that he uses
with character stats on.
Yep, and so like they're playing cards with them this time. But like we've seen them throughout this series. That image of Nightwolf is basically the same every time. It is a Wile E. Coyote version of Nightwolf.
Yep. But yeah, it was all downhill from here.
You didn't like this?
I thought it was fine.
Oh.
I felt like the X-Men were. The Zdarsky Fantastic Four X-Men book did a really nice job of fairly balancing it.
Yeah.
Where it was like if you're an X-Men fan, you're like, yeah, screw those Fantastic Four. And if you're a Fantastic Four fan, you're like, yeah, screw them X-Men.
Yeah.
This was the X-Men are irrational and psychotic.
I didn't take it like that at all.
Okay.
I thought that they were doing exactly what they would do, because the fact is, why would you have Deadpool?
Right, you wouldn't have Deadpool.
Like you are inviting disaster.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, that's their justification. They're like, we didn't let you in because you're a nightmare and you would destroy Krakoa.
Yeah, and like so for me, again, I have been reading the series from the start.
Yeah.
This is who he is. He's a little more unhinged, but seemingly due to the fact that like he does want to be cured of cancer, and he does want to feel like he has friends.
Right.
And like he has relationships with these characters, and like they are treating him like such an outsider.
Yes.
And so like he definitely comes off a little more manic in this than he has been, but I thought it worked in terms of like what we know of him.
Yes. The most genuine interaction, of course, is Deadpool with Rogue.
Right.
Who was essentially like, get out.
She tries to be very nice about it.
Sorry, everyone's a jerk.
But she's the only one that returned his call, because that was the other thing. He tries to reach out to them, and everyone
and they
ignores
don't
him
take it.
except for.
And that's the thing that blows my mind, where I'm like, you know he's gonna do this. You address it, but that's the X-Men too. Through this, that's the current incarnation of the X-Men. Where like, they're all a bunch of assholes.
Right. Also with Rogue, like of course she was gonna be in this because Kelly Thompson was writing
Mr. and Mrs. X book.
Exactly where Deadpool showed up.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Naturally, we were gonna have this interaction.
Yeah. Deadpool keeps calling them fascists. I don't know if I agree with that terminology, but like it's almost like Deadpool is parroting the people who don't like the X-Men run.
That could be. I mean, like I took it as like no matter what, like he's just using words.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't care.
Right.
It's just like, no, that's what you call people.
Yeah. He then, of course, makes his own official decree where he's like, no mutants on
No
my
more
island.
mutants.
No more mutants, which I thought was a fun, deep cut.
Yeah.
The standout, of course, in this series in this issue was Jeff.
He is adorable.
He's so adorable, and his depiction in this was spectacular.
It really
and Thompson's
was.
addressing of that by having every character who interacts with him is like, I love him, except for Storm.
Storm and
Armor?
No, is it Polaris?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Is she there? Yeah.
Lorna Dane, yeah.
Yeah, because she gets bit on the leg.
She gets bit on the leg.
Yeah, because he, like, Jeff gets fastball specialed.
Yep.
Like, that's what I like, though. And again, like, if you are a Deadpool fan, this may not be Deadpool's voice for you. I really enjoyed this, like, sarcastic, like, silly sort of Deadpool.
I'm down.
Who occasionally you see these hints of like deeper meaning and deepness to the character. Yes. Like he's using, like, you know, Spider-Man uses his snark sometimes to
mask his insecurities.
Yeah, or like his fear or his like nervousness. Deadpool seems to do that, but like amped up to 11.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. In this, it's, if you're looking at it from the perspective of he like broke onto Krakoa to just get an understanding from people he perceived to be his friends.
Yeah.
Like to mask his sadness. I get that, and I don't think it's like stretching it too thin to expect that.
But like he's also been struggling with the fact that it's like not only like is Deadpool just Deadpool himself, but like he's the king of the monsters. Right. Yeah. Like it's hard for him not to think he is a monster. They got a Paradise Island and no one will return his call and he's in charge of all the monsters. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, and he's also has to be in charge of things, which is a struggle for him to begin with. Yeah. Oh, he also gets bailed on by the vessel that allows him to go through the Krakoa portal in the first place. Like, I actually don't want to stay on your island anymore. I'm going to stay on the mutant island. I want to stay on the cool mutant Paradise Island. That seems awesome. Yeah, and he's like, cool. And he does it in front of everybody. Yeah. And so, like, he feels abandoned by the end of this. Right. So he goes to talk to Elsa Bloodstone, and Elsa's essentially like, I'm setting up the next arc. Yep, I'm dying. I've got a hand thing happening. Yep. Oh, no. So I enjoyed it, but like, I've been enjoying this tone for Deadpool, and I know it's not up everybody's alley, but like, I've been digging it. It seems more like an issue from this run than it is a X-Men. Hey, let's critique or analyze the world of X-Men today through the lens of Deadpool. Right. It's really just an acknowledgement that like he also acknowledges that Krakoa is there. Yeah, and we also get a lot of Jeff. I mean, Jeff's awesome. Well, Magic wants him. Right. Like she's like, look, like she's like talking about Deadpool, and then she's like, also, I mean, I love him. Yeah, I want this. That this is ours. Yeah, and now, it's like no, basically. And Emma's also wants him. Right. But for a handbag. As a handbag. I also think it's also another way of like metatextually explaining that like, I'll bet Hickman was like, I don't want Deadpool in my freaking book. Well, yeah, he's like, too much of an X Factor. More like X-Force to be reckoned with. I think they actually use X Factor in this. They do, which just launched, by the way, last week. We didn't talk about it, but it did launch. Otherwise, I mean, I recommend it in terms of like it being a well-crafted issue that's a lot of fun. It's actually not a bad jumping on point because it contextualizes everything you need. And if you don't like the tone of this book, you probably won't like the tone of the series. So it's a good way to know if you're going to be it's a good test. So yeah. Ko the Face Stealer says, checking in from work, appreciate the countless hours of content. Thank you, Ko. Please stay away from my face, or if you're going to replace it, get me a prettier one. Mitchell Best says, thoughts on Justice League Dark Apocalypse War movie. Thought it was too much. I love Deceased and Dark Multiverse. I love have a Constantine Etrigan or Question. Like I guess animated film of some kind. Yeah, I'd be down for that. Yeah. You know, we do we have a pitch? We've checked in a couple of times on some of the DC animated stuff. So we watched that movie. And we did watch that. So we knew some of the stuff leading up to it, and we watched that. It was fine. It was fine. I think for me, based on its name, I thought. Yeah, it was gonna. Well, but did you know it was gonna be the culmination and termination of everything? That. No, I did. I had heard that, so I knew that going into it. So, like, against all odds, I was like, oh, they're calling it Justice League Dark, right? Like, because it's a dark story. Zatanna's in it, and Constantine's in it, like, and Etrigan's in it. Like, naturally, and Swamp Thing, I think, shows up. Yeah, it's naturally we're going to be going down that route, and they're going to play really key components to fixing things. Right. No. Not really. No, they're players in it. They are players in it. But again, that was based on my interpretation of really the title and reading Justice League Dark. Yeah. So I can't really base it off of that, but like I agree there was a lot happening, but they were trying to end it, so yeah. Admittedly there were some cool action sequences, but characters were done dirty, and it didn't really for me. I wasn't a big fan of that universe as it was, so it didn't leave me with any lasting feelings or effect. Right. I thought it was also a great opportunity to do some like really not messed up things, but more like bold things, like to do something unexpected or even just kind of like, you know, a deeper thing, you know, where they're like, listen, you know, we can't do like they can't make a Mask of the Phantasm today. It's a love story with some Batman stuff in it, which is a really great movie, by the way. It's one of the best DC animated movies. Yeah. But like you can't do that today, just like you can't make a real Star Trek movie today. Because, like,
because you can't justify spending the amount it would cost to even make that movie and expect that kind of return.
Right.
Or that kind of animated movie. But with this movie, it was the culmination of all of it. It had all these characters in it. You were already wrapping up everything. You could have done something a little bit more like, I don't know. You could have done more. And it just kind of is a cool fight, which is really all anyone wanted from that universe anyway.
There you go.
So I'm not arguing with them, but that's fine. So that's how I feel about that universe overall. I'm excited to see where it's going. Now,
go ahead. There, your head was being cut off at the top. Okay. I fixed it.
So, what else you got?
Oh, you want to talk about Strange Adventures?
Might as well. I've got 3 more to go. Strange Adventures.
This is the only one I have left.
Oh, great. Well, Strange Adventures.
Wait, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah. No. I don't know. Let's talk about Strange Adventures, because... Did you read it?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, no, I have another one. Strange Adventures continues to be amazing, and obviously I don't really... Can't say this with certainty, because the series isn't over. We're only on issue 4, so we're a third of the way through.
Yep.
But I am kind of enjoying this a little more than Mr. Miracle, and I love Mr. Miracle.
Yeah.
This issue was spectacular.
Yes.
And I kind of regret not getting the Mr. Terrific cover, but I got the variant edition because I like all the negative space that they use as part of the, like, Adam Strange illustration.
Yeah.
Haha, you're reading it from both sides. This is just, like, making you question everything that you might know. And honestly, like, timelines for things. I
think we're witchering this up.
I'm not sure when things are happening anymore, but he does have the beard and the I don't know.
Yeah, but
anyway, regardless, like, Adam has to go. He's in a battle on Rand, and he gets, like, transported out.
Zeta beamed back home,
so he can't, like, actually participate in the battle when they most need him.
Yep.
And he ends up trying to ask Hal Jordan to take him to Rand, and the Guardians won't let Hal interfere because that will put them in the mix of it, and they want to remain neutral.
Yes.
In the, like, Rand versus the Picts.
Yeah.
And he goes to Superman, which I thought, like, you know, we've talked about, like, Tom King on Superman.
Yeah.
For these, like, few panels, I thought he was written really well. He has, like, a really great, like, one-liner kind of thing that I was like, damn.
Yep.
But he goes to Superman, and he's like, hey, like, I talked to Hal, and he can't help me because of, like, politics. And, like, Superman's like, I also talked to Hal.
Yeah.
And, like, basically, he's found, like, Superman's on the moon.
Yep.
Because, like, there was a scout from Mongol, and, like, he's like, I can't leave. Like, obviously, they're coming here, and I need to stay here. And, like, Rand, even for me, is this far away.
Yeah.
And if I leave, that leaves Earth, like,
defenseless.
Yeah. And so Strange is like, you're Superman. You have to help me.
He's like, I'm Superman. I help everyone.
Yeah. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I have to help everyone.
Yep.
I'm like, that's really cool. He's like, I may not always make the right decision, but, like, I have to do what I can to balance it. And I was like, that's just a great, like, distillation of what Superman is in this universe.
Adam Strange is behaving like a drug addict.
Yes. He's like, I gotta get back to Rand. I gotta get back.
Uh-huh.
He's acting like a Manchurian candidate.
Uh-huh.
But, regardless, Mr. Terrific does something I didn't see coming. He's like, I'm going to Rand.
I'll go to Rand and read their histories.
I'll just go to Rand. So he goes to Rand in order to read, like, some of the war documents.
Yep.
And they're like, so you have absolute access to every single Rand war document. And he's like, what about the Picts? And he's like, oh, you can't have those because they're not translated. And he's like, oh, I taught myself Pict on the way.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you didn't. And then he speaks it.
Yep.
And they're like, oh. So he tries to access them, and he ends up almost getting arrested.
Yep. No, it's when he speaks Pict, they're like, you're under arrest. They wait until he's the most vulnerable because they're pieces of shit.
Yeah.
But, and of course, because he's Mr. Terrific, he terrifically escapes from their custody.
He does.
But goes to the meeting because they were going to bring him before, like, the, the council or whatever.
Her dad.
Yeah, her father, who's also in charge.
Yeah, and, like, so essentially he's like, you can't.
I'll go, I have nothing to lose.
No, why not? Like, they can't take me down, Mr. Terrific. And basically they're like, they act like, those are, you can't read those.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they're like, we told you not to.
Yeah, and he's like,
So clearly you're a criminal. Like, we can't trust anything you say.
Right?
And he's like, where's your daughter?
Yeah, where's your granddaughter?
Where's your granddaughter?
And then the guy slaps Mr. Terrific, and Mr. Terrific slaps him back.
Such a
And the guy's like...
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you think fair play means?
Right. So that's the crime against the country that he commits.
Yeah, but then he goes home.
But he's not allowed back.
No. Ever. And, like, when he gets there... Adam's wife is there.
Yeah, Alana,
and she's like shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's gonna be happy with you here either.
Right, because I've already manipulated events so that you're gonna look really bad too.
Yeah, so this is just deepening the hole.
Yep.
And putting more emphasis on something's up with Rand.
Yep.
Nothing is real. Nothing is true.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's real, but it's not true.
Right. Well, he calls all of the Randian documents he read propaganda.
Yes, he does. So I'm sure folk who are fans of Adam Strange may not be on board for this.
Yeah, because Alana is a villain.
Possibly.
Straight
We don't
up.
know. This is issue 4.
And Adam Strange is a rube.
We have 8 more issues to go.
Yeah, we're not even halfway done.
No, the mystery is just barely starting to evolve and unravel.
Usually when the rug gets pulled out from under you. But right now we're meant to think Alana is is cold, calculating, and manipulating these events, and that Adam is essentially little more than an addict.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, even if you're not interested in Adam Strange, but you like Mr. Terrific, he is such a baller in this series. Oh my god, he's so amazing.
Yep.
I'm so glad that they didn't use Batman.
Yeah.
This is so much better.
Well, and I love how Terrific is pretty much in charge of any situation. He commands the room when he enters it, especially when he's depicted by Tom King.
Yeah.
But even if Alana were to have manipulated the Earth, which of course she does normally through social media and through propaganda of her own, and she turns the world against Mr. Terrific. Terrific has Batman's backing.
I know.
So
there's also
Wayne and the two of them together, I think will counterbalance what they've nothing to fear.
What I like about him too is that he clearly has a heroic look to him.
Yeah.
But not in the sense of with a cape and all that stuff.
No.
So there's something also disarming about him.
Yes.
So when he does take that command of the room, everyone else is kind of whoa,
yeah.
What?
Wait, is this guy a superhero or something?
Yeah. So I really like it. I love how he's written. I can't wait to see how he figures all this out and what the mystery is, honestly.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that while he's on Rand, he runs into the guy who runs the library or whatever, and he's watching this music video which has a chick dressed up like Adam Strange, but
the song itself is it's a Britney Spears-esque Adam Strange propaganda
and
song.
She's singing it and stuff like that, and then later on he's singing it. He's this whole place is messed
bullshit,
up,
but
that song is fire. He just likes the song. I'm it's good.
It's good
I love it. If you are lukewarm on Tom King, again, his miniseries are where it is at, honestly.
Don't let Heroes in Crisis color your opinion of Adam Strange or Strange Adventures or Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle.
Or the inevitable Mr. Terrific series they'll do.
This is kind of it.
This is a boat. It's 2.
And that's what I like about it. With Mr. Miracle, it really was focused on him, but you also got Barda in there. Yeah. And that was cool. So you got the 2 of them, but they were intrinsically tied to one another. Yep. This is just a really cool, also let's do Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
And I'm yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
High recommend. David R. says, do you think a DBZ DC crossover would be good, like Superboy Prime and Majin Buu making a bridge between universes? I can promise you that I'm the only person on the planet who wouldn't buy it. I can also promise you that it would probably make a lot of money.
Yeah.
In comic book world.
I'm trying to imagine, how that would work between the 2 companies.
Yeah. Who has the American publishing rights to Dragon Ball Z?
Well, they all know that, but it's who gets to make the decision about
what's
what
the editorial
character does what and who's able to beat who
and the power scaling. I don't care about that thing. I don't care about power scaling.
The only reason I'm thinking of that is in terms of Marvel and DC, they struggled with that.
Yeah.
When they did crossovers,
they did
who
indeed.
Could beat who, whatever.
Well, they have a good formula for how to showcase everyone's abilities and to let them all win. It may be boring and tired, but it's a thing they do.
Right. But
with manga and Western comics, it's a especially superhero and whatever the hell you call DBZ. I don't remember. There's a word for it. It's not like Sentai, which is in the name of the Power Rangers, but there's a word for DBZ-esque anime / manga.
And
I don't remember what it was.
My brain's just it's not the word I'm thinking.
No, it is not.
It is not.
But yeah.
Which is not a bad word. It was literally, I'm Bishojo!
Yeah,
that's silly.
It's not!
Although that said, can you imagine how much fan art there is of DBZ drawn as Bishojo?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of it. I'm sure DeviantArt is 80% that.
I kind of want that though. Just sparkles.
I'd rather, I would get more excited to see the Sailor Scouts crossover with Justice League.
That would be awesome.
That would make me more excited.
That would be super cool. How does that even work?
Right.
Is it just Shonen? Because
Shonen.
my brain wouldn't let me say that because the company's called Shonen Jump.
Right.
I was like, no, that can't be
I think it is. I think you're right.
Because that's the company name.
Yeah.
It can't just be that.
Right?
That's like.
Yeah.
I was trying to come up with another thing that it would be like. And
Right.
I'm like, it's like Band-Aid. No.
No, that is actually a brand name.
But that is a brand name that became an item name.
Yes.
But I think it was always Shonen.
You're right. And then someone named themselves after that.
Anyway.
Troy Harness says, "Hey, Comic Pop, ready to do some more Ultimate Spider-Man for back issues? I am. Just got done reading Ultimate Warriors. Lol, it's my favorite. Yeah, it's a really great arc. I've been thinking about bringing back Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. I have at least 4 different Spider-Man books I want to do on back issues, but I can't do them all at once. And we've been favoring DC pretty heavily right now, so obviously we got to do that. So yeah, Spidey will be back this week, but not Ultimate Spider-Man.
He'll be web swinging into your neighborhood.
Yes. Kenneth Dowling, hey guys, just clocked off work and saying hi. Hey Kenneth, hope you had a good day. You got a split screen thing going. Neat. Change is good. I like your earrings, Tiffany. Stay classy.
Thank you. Earrings.
Thank you, Kenneth. Good work. Good eye. And as a tip out there for those of you who are looking for tips, always compliment a lady's earrings. They think you don't notice, and when you do, they really appreciate it.
We do. We truly do. Someone in the chat said it's like if all Disney movies are called Disney, which they are.
Right.
But
which they are. No, but yeah, if it were
it's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And that is accurate though.
Yeah.
But that it's one of those things where your brain's like, no.
It can't be that.
It can't be that.
Yeah.
It can't be that.
Right.
Because you came up with it too quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks.
Dan V900 says Strange Adventures is great. What is interesting is paying attention to Strange's suit in number 4. It's clearly intentional to show the New 52 suit. Oh, okay.
What? Sorry, I was dancing.
Strange's suit is like New 52 suit in that book at some point.
Well, it's during that time period where you don't know when it is though.
Exactly.
Because they don't give us a time period where I'm like, is this happening right now? Is this like earlier?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think that definitely.
Well, because honestly, I guess they're still fighting the war in theory.
I assume that it takes place the flashback and the scene with the beard and him leading the army.
Yeah.
And him talking to Superman and Hal, that all takes place shortly after the warrior fight from the last issue.
That's what I thought too, but I thought that was in the past.
But it could be on purpose and making you think that. Because of course anyone can grow a beard and it takes a couple weeks.
I also love the depiction. It's just a classic image of Superman holding the American flag.
Yeah,
but it's the one from the moon.
Yep. Well, he's fixing it.
I know. I just like that. Though. It just
yeah.
looks cool.
It just looks
a dope
cool.
image.
Yep. What was it? Radical Radish says you're thinking of Bandai Namco, Tiffany.
Am I?
I don't even know to what he's referring.
Mappy?
What about Mappy?
That's Bandai Namco.
Yep. So is Dig Dug and
Dig Dug.
Dig Dug.
We're referencing a series,
a dead show no one owns,
nobody cares about anymore. That really brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Dan V900, you see the New 52 suit, which may be the real world, and Silver Age suit number 4, which reminded me of Barda having brown and blue eyes, and Mr. Miracle 12, which tied into the first issue of that series.
Yes.
Agreed. So yeah, can't argue with that.
No.
I don't know, when it comes to New 52, your guess is as good as mine. I'm sure that King did not do the research enough to make you think to draw on stories of Adam Strange from New 52.
Or they may or may not have. It doesn't
the fact is he doesn't have to do that.
Right, but Mitch Gerads pays attention to certain things.
He does.
So
indeed.
You never know.
So it could be Mitch.
But I still think that we're not dealing with the same style of story that we did with Mr. Miracle, where it was what is reality?
Yeah.
I think it's there is reality, and there are false memories
but that's not changing reality itself. It's Adam Strange's mental reality, but it's not about worlds, although it is about worlds too. So DC's Dead Planet number 2 came out. Of course, this is by Todd Taylor and Trevor Hairsine. It's just more of the same. If you are on the deceased train, you're obviously going to be reading this book. Because you've been reading Deceased pretty much for the last year and a half, nonstop. Ever since the first series came out, you've been probably reading Deceased in some form or another. What were you gonna say?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. That being said, this is pretty cool. It says that it's like a few years later. I think everyone's older, so yeah, it's like the timeline's a little funky.
Mm-hmm.
Like they draw Harley being being visibly aged, but then it feels like it's only a couple years later. But then it's like no, but Damien's like a teenager.
Yeah,
so.
but don't forget, these are like city miles.
No,
These are beyond city miles. Like these are beyond that.
Yeah, that's true. Taylor kills Roy Harper within the first 3 pages.
Wow.
So
I mean,
sorry,
you can do that. This is like out of continuity.
Oh yeah, well he kills all kinds of people in this book, but essentially the idea was that Roy was left behind Arsenal. For those who don't know him personally, and he's been like defending his own these people from the hordes. Fire shows up. She is of course changed,
right?
And so then at the perfect time for Constantine, Roy Harper dies, and then Constantine's team shows up.
That is classic John.
Yep, the Shadow Pact. It's a group of characters, including John, Zatanna, Red Hood, Blue Devil, Ragman.
I was gonna say, is that Ragman?
It sure is Ragman, and Deathstroke's daughter.
Okay.
These are characters that you would have seen in DC's Unkillables. So, hey, it doesn't seem like, what, Red Hood? He made it? That doesn't make any sense. Well, read Unkillables. It's a great series. What, Ragman? He was not in that series. Neither was Blue Devil.
That's because all of the DC's zombies forgot about him.
Yes.
Just like everyone else.
Like everybody else. But Tom Taylor didn't forget.
Well, he had a series recently. Recently, like being within the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Whenever I say recently, it's
right,
plus or minus 5 to 10 years.
Exactly. So they, so the Shadow Pact kicks ass. They kill zombies. Swamp Thing shows up, and he's like, "The garden's screwed." Constantine's like, "The garden in Gotham. That's where we keep bringing refugees."
Right.
And he's like, "No, the one in Australia. You need to go and fix it." And John's like, "I'm not going to Australia. I wouldn't go to Australia before the zombie outbreak. I'm not going now."
Yeah, that whole place is messed up.
Of course, Swamp Thing interrupts them, and they're trying to kill zombies, or whatever you want to call them, the anti-lifers.
Yeah.
And so Swamp Thing creates spears from out of the ground, kills all of them, proving that Swamp Thing could probably kill everyone on the planet. But he doesn't.
Except for Ivy. She'd feel it.
Yeah, she would feel it. But yeah. So Constantine essentially is like, all right. So they we visit the garden that Harley and Ivy are tending, I guess you could call it. And they are protected by the Tower of Fate, which is floating within the garden itself.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, the Shadow Pact decide that they are going to go to Australia and deal with this other garden. Meanwhile, if you may remember from the first issue, Superboy was stabbed with the sword that also stabbed Wonder Woman.
Right.
And so they bring Superboy to the garden as well. Cassie, new Wonder Woman does.
But if you
you're right, he's not changed yet.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Black Canary Green Canary has entombed the anti-lifer version of Ollie Queen, and she's like, I'm not leaving him.
Oh,
because Victor, the head that is of Cyborg, has said there's a cure.
Right.
So they're there to kind of figure it out.
Right.
Damien and Jason have a tearful reunion, which is really cool. A lot of great character moments in this book. Hawkgirl is there. She's the one carrying Victor's head, where he's like, I don't know, the anti-life equation told me that the secret and the cure was within me. And Green Canary is like, if there's a cure, I'm not killing Ollie. We could test it on him.
Right.
We also indicate that Cassie and Damien are sleeping together.
Oh.
Ooh la la, in this alternate reality, who cares? It's fun. I'm fine with it, but I'm also not like, this is canon. Obviously it's not canon. So the Shadow Pact go. They arrive at the, I don't know, the garden, which is surrounded by hellfire and surrounded again by a moat of blood, and of course
that's a lot of blood.
Under siege, by the anti-life.
Okay. Who's running this place?
Right. We don't know.
Oh.
I think it's the bad guys from Unkillables.
Oh, okay.
Because when Zatanna, levitates everybody,
magics them on in there.
Magics them across the moat, and when they start to cross the moat, They get a little close and they realize it's not blood, it's Plastic Man. Plastic Man has been zombified, and so he just kills all of them. Like, parts of Plastic Man blast out of his own horrible anti-lifed mouth, and if you think I'm not going to show it to you, you got another thing coming. Look at this horror show. It is just a disaster. But everyone dies. Ragman, Zatanna, Blue Devil. The only one who doesn't die is, of course, Constantine.
Yeah,
who plummets.
Because he has to have survivor's guilt.
Yes. Who plummets, and we see an indication that there are survivors in the garden who are watching. But John is falling, but not stabbed, so we know.
Can Swamp Thing be infected?
He could be infected, absolutely. Well, he's plant life. Is that life enough for him to be anti-lifed? I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how does that work? Because, I mean, like...
I don't know.
His body is...
I would think not.
Right?
But, yeah, it's cool. This issue felt short. It was, Well,
it seems fast-paced.
It was very fast-paced. It was good. No, don't get me wrong. I loved the series, I love this series. I love this issue. Art's great, and it continues to be cool. No complaints. Just I was like, oh, it's over, and I guess that's a mark of a good book.
Sure.
So yeah.
All right.
What is your other book?
My other book was Empire X-Men number 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. You read
this was the series that started off written by Hickman, and it's going to change creative teams up until we get to the end.
Yep.
When Hickman will write it again, but will be different art.
Right.
This was written by Jerry Duggan, Ben Percy, and Leo Williams.
Oh shit. That's like most of the X-Men brain trust outside of Hickman.
Right. With art by Lucas Wernick.
Okay.
Art was fine. It wasn't as solid as the first book, but what are you going to do? Don't forget the horticulture are here.
Yes.
So we're on Genosha.
Right.
And we have zombie mutants that were brought back by Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
We have the Kawadi.
Yep.
We have the X-Men team, which consists of Magic, Penance, or Monet.
Yep.
Angel, and Multiple Man.
Yep.
And they're there as well. So we've got all these folk who are kind of arrived here. The Kawadi are here because they want to use it as a staging ground to attack Wakanda.
Yeah. Because they want to get the mound.
Right. So essentially, like, the horticulture are there to do their own thing. They're there to get plant samples because that's what they're into, right? And the X-Men are like, what are you doing here,
right,
ladies?
Who invented you?
Who
this
invented
is so
you?
stupid.
Why are you here? This book, honestly, is not written for all ages. Even though the cursing is bleeped out, like, the fact that you have a team of 4 older women and there's a lot of cursing in it, I think they're just like, this is for our adult readers.
We know kids aren't picking this book.
Yeah, without saying it is like, you know, I actually don't know what it's rated.
I'm sure it's not rated anything.
But essentially, the horticulture kind of flex the muscles a little bit. Because, like, they all think that Angel is really cute.
Yes.
He's a cute guy. He goes to touch them because basically magic is going to teleport them out of there. Like, get out of here. You don't need you here. One of them turns around and sprays him with something, which is a pheromone.
Oh, no.
And so, like, when he looks at them again, they're all hot.
Right.
And he's like, I'll do anything for you. And then they realize that he's not the only man around. Now they also have multiple man.
Oh, no.
So, it doesn't matter, though, because, like, the Kawadi start attacking, and so do all the zombies. And so they're having a big old fight. And, like, it's just a lot of, like, quippy dialogue, and, like, it's a little more quippy than the first issue.
Okay.
But I still think it works. The ladies are written in a very specific way.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? They all have, like, a relationship prior to this, at least the way they're written.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, like, at least the way they're written, it's like they've been together forever. You know what I mean?
See.
Like,
yes.
Because things are not going well, Magic calls demons from, like, limbo to come forth and help fight them back. Basically, the Kawadi are like, we're screwed. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to blow up our ship and take everybody out with us.
Okay.
Like, no, forget it. Screw you.
That seems like their MO.
Screw you. And so they go to do that. And instead of blowing it up, what it does is it becomes a giant seed pod. And it traps 2 of the horticulture and 2, I can't remember, I think it's Monet and Multiple Man are trapped inside.
Sure. So they have to work together to get out.
Yeah, and so, like, basically they'd originally called a truce because, like, things were getting bad.
Yeah.
Tom Cassidy attempts to, like, check in with them, but he can't see because the horticulture took over the gate, so
Right.
they can't look in, they can't send folk to help.
Mm.
And so like what he does though is he's able to connect with the dirt and the dust and the pollen that's on Angel.
Okay.
And he's like, look, this only can last for so long, and so like I still have a connection to it, so he makes a little version of himself so he can see what's happening. The ladies say that like the only way to kill this giant thing that's taking root is to like fight it with another type of plant, essentially.
No.
Well, because Magic attempts to like attack the seed pod using her like telepathy and like all this other stuff, and they're like, it's a plant, sweetie.
Right.
It's not gonna work.
We'll use a big bird or fire or
well, no, what they
poison.
say is like it's laid down roots, so you need something like in nature that prevents that. And they mentioned like there's like the black walnut tree, which apparently its roots will keep other things from growing around it. So you need something like that to stop it.
Yeah.
And so like they attempt to attack it with whatever they Magic forces the women to like release the gate.
Okay.
Because like basically like Krakoa attacks, but when Krakoa attacks, it uses up like psychic energy, and so like it's really like hurting
the island.
Well, Monet, because she's the only psychic there. It's killing her.
Right. Oh no.
And so like Magic's like, okay, fine, forget it. Here's my plan. I'm in charge of this stuff. Like I'm the war general.
Yeah.
So she places a call to Krakoa and it says, calling all psychics, get your butts over here.
Cool.
And so the call is answered, and like the roster is here. It's like the Stepford Cuckoos and like Mr.
Quentin
Sinister.
Cryer and friggin' what's his name? Exodus.
Yep, Exodus is there, so like they're there, and so like that's who's answering the call.
Okay.
Also, Magic knows that she can sense that something brought these zombies back, but she hasn't quite.
Oh no! Well, we know who it was.
She hasn't quite even nailed that. Like she knows who it is yet.
Yeah.
To be fair, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
As just a fun title, it's just a fun title.
Right.
I like the horticulture. I like the first issue a little better than this.
Yeah.
This one felt like they were trying a little hard.
There's only 3 issues, right?
I think it's 4.
No.
Because another team's going to write the next one, and then Hickman will be back for the 4th one.
Right. Okay. A different team than this?
Yeah. So,
cool.
I think that's because of the timetable, because issue 3 comes out this week.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I can imagine the next issue they'll be like, calling all people with knife hands and swords and stuff.
Get on in here.
Get all the claws.
Yeah. So, it is a like chewing the scenery kind of book.
Yeah.
And so like if you're not looking for that right now, or you're not all in on Empire, this was still $5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so do I recommend it?
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily recommend that everyone run out and purchase it, because it's like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot for a tie-in book that may not mean anything to what's going on in X-Men.
But if you want to spend $5 more on the trade paperback, maybe it's time to pick it up.
For what?
When you get the trade.
Oh, well, yeah. Sure. Why not?
Because it'd be $20 for this,
right.
$25 for a trade paperback from
Marvel.
Marvel.
Or you could just wait for, to pick up floppies
the omnibus or the
later on.
Get the floppies a week later, and you'll save yourself at least 50%.
Or sometimes Comixology has sales.
That's true.
If you're doing digital, so it's up to you.
Yeah.
I will continue to read this series.
Yeah.
So we have like more to talk about on this show, but also because I like the horticulture.
Right.
They're silly and they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
And thank you for being a friend.
Getting into some super chats.
This is a long episode today.
I know, it's an hour and a half. I'm sorry, everybody.
Jeez.
Mr. Bast says, do you think Batman planned for his loss since that old detective taught him to lose?
Oh, maybe.
Very possible.
Yeah.
I think that they wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't going to be paid off.
Yeah.
So definitely. And J. Joseph Frazier says, since DC and IDW make baller crossovers, which characters would you pair with My Little Pony, Sonic, and Ghostbusters? I have a pitch for a DC IDW crossover. I'll hang on to that.
Did they or did they not do Flash and Sonic?
They have not done Flash and Sonic. So duh.
It kind of writes itself. And My Little Pony,
I think that the Themyscrians and the Equestrians should get together.
They're from
Themyscarans. Jim Lee pronounces it Themyscria.
Yeah, yes.
Which we found out watching one of his Twitch streams.
That is funny though, like the idea of the Amazons.
Yeah, they each get a cute pony.
Coming upon them and being like, we usually ride you.
Right.
Don't ride us.
Don't ride me. Because then they can gain their trust and then ride them. It'll be cute.
Well, cutie marks.
Right? Come on. Dan V900 also says, I like the first 2 issues of Empire, but it's been downhill Only 2 issues left and nothing going on. Why are so many big things happening in tie-ins? Because most people have gotten the memo that, like, they can do whatever they want in tie-ins and the editors don't care. So, like, they probably go, I'll just do whatever I want! That's why you're like, oh, wow, these tie-ins are dope! And it's like, because they probably aren't being edited.
Sure, yeah.
Or if they are being edited, they're being edited in a kind of like...
Right,
eh.
and at least with, like, the X-Men one, like, they're answering to, like, they're tying into Empire, but I think they're answering to Hickman on that one.
They're answering to a higher power. And Dan R, or David R...
They're new gods.
They're new gods, if you will. Yeah. David R says, thanks for getting me into Green Lantern. Also, how funny the episodes are and quotable. Thank you very much for digging our Green Lantern episodes. We have done a unexpected amount of Green Lantern episodes of back issues. Every time I do a Green Lantern episode, I go, I'm not even the world's biggest Green Lantern fan. We have like 4 episodes of Green Lantern. What am I doing? You gotta count Green Flame. You even did a Green Lantern.
I did a Green Lantern story, a Superman Green Lantern story written by Neil Gaiman.
Right? So Batman 96, Jamestown the 4th, Jorge Jimenez, Joker War Part 2 or 20 or whatever, because like Joker War has been teased and hinted at for like the last... Well, when did Tynan start? But otherwise, you know, superficial review, I'll say that the writing is cool and the art is great. Jimenez only really gives himself a few standout moments. I will say that, like, there's an image of Harley that is like everything I don't like about Harley, but I loved it.
Yes.
So we see the use of that blue suit that no one cares about.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's Alfred's vision of a bright future for Gotham.
Yeah.
That Alfred is so arrogant he thinks he'll still be alive in. It's actually a vision.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a Joker, Scarecrow, toxin hallucination
Dream
that Batman has.
kind of thing, yeah.
That is a realization of Alfred's dream, which is that, like, Mr. Freeze has kids and they're badasses who work with him, and so...
But they have the lamest names. It's Ice Pop and Snow Cone.
I hate it. It's
when that
worst.
happened, I was like,
oh,
okay,
this is
okay,
a joke.
Something's up here.
Yeah, no, it's
something
straight
is
up
not
this.
right.
No, not in the state of Batman. Batman defeats them using, like, you know, his patented bat tech, and also with some quips and jibes. Like, it's a cute little issue that is like an all ages Batman title. Like, why not? Here you go.
That part
is, yeah, absolutely. The rest of it is not.
Well, that part up until we see Alfred.
Right.
And then it is not for children.
Yeah, no, because Alfred's head is like, separated.
Well, Alfred's standing there, and then it just his neck snaps, and you're
which
like,
is how Bane kills him in a horrible Tom King run.
Right, but like the fact is that Batman has that imagery.
Yeah.
So that's what his nightmares are. Like, it goes from this dream, this idealistic dream, into this like
into a
nightmare.
Classic Batman. Also, Batman like has control over all of the infrastructure of Gotham, which is also another dream of Batman's, which means he's a totalitarian warlord. But anyway, so Batman and the whole issue is essentially like a fever dream for Batman, where he was rescued by Harley, who was
she found him post explosion.
Yeah, her throat was slit. But she sewed herself back together, giving her a like. I'm expecting it to be a new character trait for Harley, where she points it out. She talks about how Frankensteinian it is.
I already saw articles saying, like, you know, Harley cosplayers are gonna have a new like accessory or whatever. I'm like, just relax, slow your roll.
You know what? Comic book writers and artists, you don't have to make stuff deliberately for cosplay.
They could fix it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, that was just what the article,
I know.
like...
Well, the outfit that Harley wears is straight up like, here is your new New York Comic Con 2021 edition of your Harley costume.
Right.
But like, that being said, it's Jimenez. I loved how it was portrayed. I don't know why. You know, it's
she's a really like badass look on her face.
She has a badass look. It's like kind of sexy, but like, you know, it shouldn't be because she's insane and her throat's cut and like, but you know, there's a lot of
there's a level of exhaustion.
That's true.
Like,
but
there.
It's interesting. It's just because that the look on her face is just like, I had to carry your dumbass body to our safe house. Like, I have been nursing your wounds. Like, I am done.
Right.
Also, my throat was cut. Like, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and like,
I love it. I don't know why.
You have no idea what's happening out there right now, Batman.
Yeah,
it's real bad.
And Batman is an ungrateful dick the entire time. His entire interaction with her is him pushing or punching her.
Well, yeah, but he's also like, where's Catwoman? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's trying to get his bearing, but he's also still under the thrall of the toxin.
Absolutely.
Which is cool because we get to see a little bit of that, like, you know, Dr.
Quinn, yeah. Well, she says, like, you know, well, pharmacology isn't really my strong suit. I'm more of a talking kind of.
Yeah, I'm a talking therapist. But like, she's like, she checks his eyes. She's like, it's still in you, and like, Joker brought up like Ace Chemical, so I have a feeling that it's going to be spread.
Right.
Like, and if this is what it does to Batman,
yes, then it's going to be real bad.
Yeah.
Also, Joker, that is, Jokerized a lot of Batmobiles and Bat Tech and loosed them across Gotham, so Gotham's being torn apart.
Yeah, like basically all the gangs that were there are like joined up because like they were getting paid and like they're getting all the toys and like you don't go against Joker.
Yep.
But then we get like a straight up like Dark Knight Returns sort of moment.
Yes.
In this.
Yeah, we have a new character that I'm sure will have like, I don't even think they have a name in this book.
No, he's just a kid.
It's a kid. I think it's a character.
You think it's a kid? I assumed he's very distinct.
Yeah, it's very distinct. I'm thinking it's essentially a retread of the Son of Batman. Sons of Batman.
Yeah.
Right? It's this kid who has found a Batarang, embedded it into a baseball bat, and is just killing clowns across Gotham with it.
But like, and like, it's such a cliche interaction they have, and I still loved it. Where like the woman's like, "Hey, like, son, are you?" Because like he saves a woman and like these two children from being like killed by
an alley.
By this Joker gang, and like she goes like, "Son, are you okay?" And he's like, "No, ma'am. I am not even a little bit okay.
Yeah.
But like, I'm gonna go out and kill a couple more of these guys and see how I feel."
Exactly.
And I was like, "Damn."
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, like again, we've seen that before, but it just hit at the right time where I didn't mind it.
Yeah. Joker, we see the fate of the theater runner, who essentially makes a commercial selling the Mark of Zorro.
Mm-hmm.
Batman gets that message and he's like, "Oh, geez, Zorro," and he's getting his vision of the origin. And Harley's like, "No, we've seen your parents die enough times. No."
Yeah,
shouldn't say that. But like,
that said, that panel is spectacular
great.
Because like. Batman is shown like having like the flashback, but like the panel is like
leads into the flashback. He becomes the flashback.
It's really cool.
Yep.
It's really well done.
Yep. So Batman returns to the Monarch Theater.
But like he does that, but he also sees the same neck snapping that like
his parents.
It's like Alfred is like his death is bleeding into his parents' death, thus kind of solidifying the Batman or Alfred as his parent.
Yes. So Batman bails on Harley, and she's like, "No, you have to fix this. Like, you've got to be Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't go. You got to heal yourself." And so he leaves, and he actually proves to himself that he's Batman real quick by saving some people. There is a dynamic panel in here that is also just like the colorist is also doing the Lord's work. So, like, shout out to them as well. It's just a good looking book.
It is.
Overall, Jimenez is up top of his game. He's just trying he's pulling out all the stops.
Yeah. Batman also recognizes that like he's hearing Alfred and he's like, "That's a hallucination and I have to deal with
he says like, he's like, "Alfred, you're not real, you're dead." And Alfred's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sir." Like, But like, I like Batman's acknowledgement, like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to deal with this, but not right now." Yeah, actually I could use you.
I need you to like calm my nerves, man.
Yeah.
But he's also like telling him things that like either Batman would know or would, you know what I mean? Like it's interesting.
Yes. So Batman enters the Monarch and it's brand new. It's actually not brand new. He's like, "Oh, it's brand new." No, wait. It's not a restoration.
Mm-hmm.
It is recreating exactly as it was when young Bruce Wayne was at the theater.
Yeah.
So he goes into the theater, and of course we know what's in there. It's a bunch of corpses, and they're all Joker-fied.
But he smells them before he
smells them. He's like, "Ah,
there.
Jesus." So he gets there. Joker's on the screen. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna fight, but not right now. You see, I filled the theater with the dead, but it took a long time, but not as much time as you think, because of course I work, I pay these people now."
Yes.
But like, it took a long time to dig up everyone I've killed.
That you didn't save.
Yeah,
like, it's your fault. Which I was like, it was bad enough that it was the theater.
That it was these dead people and it was fear,
and it was the whole thing. That was just the icing on the cake. It wasn't just citizens of Gotham that he had killed. No. It couldn't just be that.
No, it's the dead that Batman was like failed to save throughout his career, and some of them are recently dead, some of them are long dead. But he uses the designers
like tech
to reanimate their corpses and send them to attack. And of course, they're going to add to their numbers by killing more people.
Yeah, so like
this is obviously the designer plan, like that he pitched a designer that was like, "No,
yeah, that is not okay.
This is his plan.
That is a bad plan."
That was the first moment that I had where I was like, "Oh my god, that was the pitch to the designer that he had."
Yeah.
Oh. That's cool. That's clever. So yeah, it's a cool issue. Again, this one read very fast for me. But like you shouldn't read it too fast because the art is totally worth looking at. It did go very
quickly, but it's just the pacing. It's just excellent pacing.
Pacing's excellent. Yeah, Tynan really nails it, man. I gotta tell you. In the super chats, Supermax says He-Man, My Little Pony. Did the crossover? Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I don't really see a lot of He-Man. I mean, I read like the first issue.
Well, He-Man is crossed over with Justice League.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and he had that multiverse book. No, I'm just saying I don't see a lot of He-Man. Right. Ben Wilson. It's an hour and a half. Sorry, everybody. Speaking with my dollar to show that I like the long shows. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Radical Radish. Fingers crossed for a Green Lantern, Green Arrow on back issues. One day, man. I promise. I have it on the shelf. I keep thinking about it, and I don't do it. Algie Try says Fast Money Zoom, and thank you very much, man. And he also has an emote of money and a duck. So. Or a mallard, I don't know. But thank you very much, Algie Try. I really appreciate it, man.
Nice.
Delapo Fayemi says, love y'all. I'm here late. Why do you think that Kate Pryde is dead? Because the new funeral issue comes out today. Interesting. Well, I don't know if it can come out today, because today's Monday. But it comes out this week, I guess. I don't know why I don't know what the mystery is, and I'm honestly not really thinking about it. It came to me the other day. I saw like some article that was like talking about great X-Men, and they were like the Red Queen. I'm like, yeah, she had a really fun run of like 3 issues before she died.
Well,
but like
that'll be it does create more mystery around her, since like they could bring her back, but can they?
Right. Well, they can't. They've tried. But I'm excited to see what that means.
Right.
The Amazing Amazo. I believe the boy in Batman is Clown Hunter.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of comments in there, and I was like, the super chat is coming.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I will say, based on that, that's too bad because that's a dumb name. Delapo Fiemi also says the kid you're talking about from Batman is called Clown Hunter. Is Tiffany tatted as fuck, or are my eyes just all goofy? Also, how big you think Franklin Richards is for the new X-Men?
This is. I'm sorry. This is no. This is it's like a lacy kind of thing here. There's no.
It's a garment.
I actually have 0 tattoos.
Yeah.
0 tattoos.
Same. I have scars.
Do you want to know how I got them?
Nobody does.
Oh.
But thank you.
But I thought about it.
Yeah.
I have thought often about getting a tattoo.
I know which one you're talking about.
And it's still the same one, so that literally means that I do want it.
Right.
Because I've had that same thought for almost a decade.
Yeah. Definitely a decade.
But I still won't do it.
Yeah.
And that's what they say. You have to wait X amount of years, and if you still want it, you should get it.
Right.
I don't know.
I know.
I just can't commit.
No.
That's forever.
You need you need to have like a recommended art.
It's not even that, it's not in depth.
No.
Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Unless I went to them and they were like, no, don't do that. Well,
right.
Like, I'll research it and find, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
How big do you think Franklin Richards is for the new X-Men when all's said and done? I don't know. I assume that Franklin Richards is a key component, but again, I think he'll be more like Molecule Man played a role in Secret Wars, where he was more like a plot device than he was a character. So that's what I expect. And Duckcade says, some last-minute cheddar, and also big ups for Tiffany picking up one of the Parker clones for her Avengers team. My boys need some love.
Thank you.
What is he talking about? Watch the last episode, 2 episodes ago, of Elseworlds Exchange, where Joel and I built the Avengers teams.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you, it's just, I was trying to not just pick guys who hadn't been on there, but at the same time, my introduction to Avengers was actually via the new Avengers, and so that's what my team is in my head, and I'm like, you need a spider character on there. I'm like, who hasn't seen any love? Right. The clones. Why not? Because they're the clones. You know what I mean? Some people dig them, but a lot of people are like, no thanks. Right. I myself included. So the last one we got is Dark Knight's Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights, which is an anthology book that came out just this past week. Which is written by many people. It essentially gives you 2-page origins of the new Dark Knights. Yeah, these were all shorter than I was expecting. Right, some of them were shorter than they had any right to be. And I'll be honest, I'm going to let Shake lead on this because I really glanced at this. Okay. So it's all you. Okay. Oh, I thought you said. No, I said you're. I'm gonna let you take. Oh, it's all. So we get a couple of origins. For one, we find out the origin of Dr. Batmanhattan. Yeah. A name that I prefer to call him, Dr. Manbattan. Yeah. But I've also heard Dr. Bathattan, Dr. Batmanhattan, and of course Dr. Manbattan. Any of the names works because it's totally stupid and a morally bankrupt concept. That being said, what's his origin? Well, it turns out that Bruce Wayne, he gets a page of origin, but the idea is
hey, how does because if you read the last issue of Dark Knight's Death Metal, the Batman Who Laughs becomes the Darkest Knight by way of Batmanhattan.
By the way, if you become the Darkest Knight, you've actually just signaled that you're over, because it's always darkest before the dawn.
That's right.
So that was your death knell right there.
Boom. Yeah. So essentially, the first chapter is the origins thereof, and it's basically just Batman Who Laughs explaining kind of a recap. It's actually a really helpful recap. It kind of like really summarizes Death Metal or Dark Knight's Metal and the Justice League run.
Which is interesting, because I'm like, are there people out there who would just pick this up and not be reading Metal?
It's an event. Yeah,
but it could
absolutely.
be. Like, there could be people who are not picking up Metal and just grab this. I guess.
I can see that.
So it was like, here, contextualize what's happening.
Yeah,
Why?
right. So essentially...
I guess if you're just a Batman fan.
Right. If you just like Batman, maybe you'll like this. But the idea here is that Bruce creates the Osterman experiment, and then he becomes the Batmanhattan, but right before he is able to have the cosmic awareness that Osterman / Dr. Manhattan has, the Batman Who Laughs was watching the whole time and used a special scalpel to cut out his brain immediately.
He lobotomizes him.
Yes.
Now, let's just this one I did kind of read a little more in depthly. This also weirdly may or may not make a nod to Doomsday Clock.
Absolutely.
Because it's in this, Bruce Wayne creates the experiment, but it's the Batman Who Laughs who shuts the door on him.
Yes.
He makes it happen, much like Dr. Manhattan moved the lantern.
Yes. That's true. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah.
So...
Yeah, he manipulates the events externally.
Yeah.
Because, Batman is smart enough to not let the door close behind him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially, the Batman Who Laughs, his plan, now that he is the Darkest Knight, or while he was transitioning into the Dr. Batmanhattan...
By the way, it is really weird to not see John's facial shape in this.
Well, and also
with hair.
The experiment burns the hair off of Osterman's body, so he really shouldn't have hair at all. But otherwise, it would just look like Dr. Manhattan. It would be too confusing. But essentially, he shares his thoughts about his plan. And his plan is to betray Perpetua and remake the cosmos. Okay, fine. And he gets cosmic awareness, so he sees even more Batman, even more evil Batman.
Yeah, we see a Mr. Freeze and a Bane,
a Ra's al Ghul Batman, a Court of Owls Batman, Bane Man, or Batbane.
One that almost looks like Brainiac, or
oh yeah, no, that's a Lex Luthor Batman.
Yeah, I couldn't tell which way they were going.
Yeah, I think it's Batman in a Lex Luthor power suit.
Yeah.
But basically, his whole plan, and I thought it was expertly written. It's written by Scott Snyder, where it describes how he's Batman is a reactionary character. He reacts to external forces. All the Batmen do. Mm-hmm. Every Batman had to start out being Batman, but also had to be influenced to become something other than Batman.
Sure.
And so the only way, it's kind of like the nihilist from the Crisis on Two Earths movie, but essentially he's I need to become the force that makes the reaction, so I will become the Joe Chill bullet of the multiverse and reshape it in my image as the Darkest Knight. Sure. So that's what he is. Okay, cool. And his, when the Alfreds all say something, he says bang, which I really loved. He doesn't say that in the actual issue, but time, whatever.
Yeah.
We also got the origin for the Robin King. Essentially, the Robin King is a Bruce Wayne.
It is, which I was oh.
Yeah, what if Bruce Wayne were complete?
But I was are all
the Robins Bruce's? I hope not.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the Robin King is Bruce Wayne is a psychopath, and Alfred is afraid of him, and so
with justification. Because, he changes the entire origin. His parents die in the alley,
but it's because Batman or Bruce Wayne kills them. They are mugged, but Bruce takes the gun and
he takes the knife and he kills the guy.
He takes his knife. He kills kills Joe Chill. He takes the gun. He kills the Waynes. And there's a couple of fun Easter eggs in there. Gordon's there. Alfred was parked out front. Why wouldn't Alfred be there? That's a great little that was a cool, smart thing to do.
Right.
Gordon shows up. He's we have the autopsy on the Waynes. We know what happened. Then Bruce Wayne kills Gordon, and he battles Alfred and kills Alfred. Of course, this Bruce puts on the Robin King costume, which when does this take place? Does he become the Robin King when he talks to the what is this? It doesn't make any sense. But he sits in his father's study. We got a couple of parallels. It's just
I'm guessing the Robin King is probably a reference to something else.
Oh no, it's from death metal.
No. I mean, like outside of that.
Oh, like what a Robin King is?
Yeah, you just keep talking.
I have no idea, but like
you know who knows? Google.
Yeah, Google and Scott. But yeah, so we see the Robin King. His origin, at this point, like we've seen such darkness and such dark like origins for Batman. This is no different. This is nothing really like out of the ordinary. I really, really liked Scott describing the attitude of the Robin King and his like kind of tone. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if we're going to see it carried over in the stories, but like this is his origin. So if you want to know more about where he came from, there it is. It's written by Peter J. Tomasi, which is the thing that surprised me the most.
Yeah.
I also should say that it was drawn by Riley Rossimo, who I believe drew the Batman Who Laughs origin when the first metal event took place.
Okay, I got nothing.
So, cool idea.
I was hoping it was some sort of like Irish
right
lore
like, what
thing.
Is the Robin King?
Well, because like he's mentioned the spring, and
spring.
I mean, we were talking about that how like robins a robin flying upwards means that spring is coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so what is a Robin King? Yeah.
Yeah. I was
nothing.
like, oh, that must be a thing.
No, it just means he's in charge.
Okay.
We get the origin of the B-Rex or the Batmanosaurus Rex.
Yeah, this seems like they were just like, you got to put it in.
No. Here you go. Snyder came up with the idea of the B-Rex.
Yeah.
He called Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis like he goes, you can write one of three origins.
Uh-huh.
Warren Ellis like, I want the Batman T-Rex. Warren Ellis gets embroiled in some Me Too shenanigans, so now he's been out.
Right.
They asked Marguerite Bennett to write the story.
Is that literally what happened?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Warren Ellis wrote this. Then they had to cut it, asked Marguerite Bennett to write it, and replaced it with this.
Okay.
So it's just it's a completely different.
Right, but also probably didn't have as much time.
No.
And like it's fine. I mean, like it's a T-Rex. They
acknowledged
him.
Batman gets crushed in the cave. He uploads his consciousness to the robot dinosaur. It causes him to go insane, and he goes to Arkham and kills his greatest nemesis.
He just like in a Jurassic Park fashion just makes his way through.
Yep, through Arkham and kills everybody.
I wish they had a banner that said,
yeah, like Welcome to Arkham or like Arkham.
Yeah,
Asylum.
falling down behind
Missed
him.
opportunities. But
like that would have been like so unnecessary and like fan servicey in a way, but like I would have like, why would you even have that there? I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a story that actually carries over from the like Batman 666 issue where Damian's in charge but Gotham's burning.
Yeah.
So it carries over where Damian goes, Bruce Wayne's still alive, and he's like, I failed. And Bruce is like, that's okay, I've got this Book of the Dead. And he does a ritual and kills Damian and then imbues himself into the city, and Gotham itself is Batman.
Right.
Like, Batman becomes Gotham. It's drawn by Francavilla, so it's awesome looking.
It does look dope.
That's it. Like,
yeah,
that's all that was all about. But it's written by Frank Thierry, by the way. The next story is Daniel Warren Johnson does a Road Warrior story. It's called Road Warrior.
Yeah, it's literally called that.
Batman, the world's running out of gas. Batman uploads his consciousness into machines.
Yeah.
And like controls the world, like the world of the wastelands. It gives people like creature comforts. Humanity eventually like roils back against Batman, and so they they smash all the machines and kill like the mortal Batman. And so there's only one piece left of him, and it's in a monster truck. The thing I really liked, the thing that's not only Daniel Warren Johnson's art, but I like the fact that the monster truck that they use looks a lot like the monster truck from Batman the Cult, which is like a deep dive and a great homage to Bernie Wrightson's design for this crazy-ass Batmobile that they never use in anything.
Right.
It's not quite the same thing, but it's still pretty dope. That story I had no problem with. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Also,
Warren
when I found
Johnson is really good,
and he wrote and drew it, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
They also had Garth Ennis write a like dumb story that apparently that was a Snyder pitch. He was like, "What if Batman died but had a contingency plan to like he had a Phoenix Protocol like Rick Sanchez, and when he returns, he's an infant."
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
Fart,
and then he cries. That's his greatest weapon.
His greatest weapon is his ability to cry. And so he's just an infant lying on the floor of the Batcave, presumably, will be left to die.
Well,
because who's there?
Well, Alfred might be there.
I feel like if Batman's dead, Alfred might not be around. That being said, who
knows?
They asked but this may be the first Garth Ennis Batman story. So,
there you go.
Garth Ennis has written for Batman before in his Hitman book. But I don't know. but it's dumb as hell. Also, I believe who drew it? Joel Jones or Yoel Jones? I don't remember how to pronounce their name, but like, wasted opportunity. It's a joke. We're supposed to have fun with this. Ha ha ha.
That said, the baby's drawn really competently because like babies are hard to draw.
Babies are hard to draw, and they draw a real baby. And like
Babbies is hard.
Yeah.
How is Babby formed?
How is Babby formed? Great question for another time. But yeah, silly, fun, harmless, no genuine complaints.
Right, but not necessary reading for.
Not at all.
Okay.
It only gives you the context for a bunch of Batmen that like don't really have much role to play. I should say that like the Batmage is on the cover, and he does not get an origin in this book. So I'm kind of like confused. Unless like the Batmage is what Bruce Wayne like.
Maybe it's not the city. Maybe he doesn't become the city. Maybe that is the Batmage's origin.
Right. No, but he definitely becomes the city though. He's wearing Damien's outfits. Maybe Damien becomes the Batmage. I whatever. But there are some super chats to get to. So Radical Raj says, "I'm just glad Robin King isn't another evil Damien." Yeah, I was surprised. Here's the thing: I was surprised it was Bruce. I was like, "Wow!"
I didn't think it was Damien. I actually thought it was like Dick Grayson,
right? Like it was some of the Robins.
I guess I thought it was all like Jason Todd's.
Right, that'd be cool. I'd be okay with it because the Crow thing. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, they're all Jason Todd,"
right?
Because that's sick.
Yeah, I expected it when I heard Snyder talk about how it's not the Robins like years ago. I assumed it was just random kids. So I'm happy it's not just random kids.
Yeah.
But Denial says, "Am I crazy, or was this pushed as a Wonder Woman-led event? Did I just make that up? No, you did not. No. It was definitely pushed as that. And here's the thing. The book's called Dark Knights, but this is also a Legends of the Dark Knight book. This is the Batman
Right,
stuff.
And that's probably why it exists, because if they are trying to push it as a Wonder Woman-led event, even though it is all about Batman and...
Yep, you're not going to get... but
you wouldn't get the deep dive that you would get here, and so like this is if you'd like to read it, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And Delapo Fayemi says, "Do you think that they're going to revert the X-Men when Hickman's run is over? I feel like it'd be a real step back if they do, but I know people like the OG formula because old fans don't love change." I
think it'll depend on how Hickman ends it, because don't forget about the whole Moira thing and like the inevitability of fate in a way for the X-Men.
Yes.
So we don't know how this is going to end. So they may not have to revert anything.
Right. Reversion will take place. It's just a question of like
who's in charge of it.
Yeah. I think Moira will die at the end.
And then then Empire won't matter.
Right. Which of course it doesn't. Speaking of which, let's get into our recommendations for books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up.
All right, what do you got?
Empire number 5 comes out. You can skip it. But like, I'll read it and I'll let you know how it goes.
We call this section, it's the recommendations. Don't buy this one.
Don't. Well, it's like, here's the thing. It doesn't need your help. So you're okay. And you can wait. Wait to buy it and save your money. Amazing Spider-Man 46 is coming out. I'm buying this out of habit at this point.
Who's that yelling back there?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't looked at the cover yet.
Oh, that's fine.
I have no idea.
There's a lot of people yelling.
But it's the last issue with Bagley's art I really enjoyed. The thing is with Spencer, like he's doing a good job, but also is it like worth it? I don't know, but I'm still buying it. The Immortal Hulk comes out. I'm just reminding you that book still exists and it's still excellent.
There you go.
And of course, Dark Knight's Death Metal number 3 comes out.
Yeah, so both events are coming out this week.
Yes, and this is the one everyone's buying, whereas Empire is a book that everyone's hearing about.
Yeah, along with Empire X-Men number 3 is coming out, which is interesting because they're going to get a little ahead of like the Avengers one, I think, which only has 2 right now.
Right.
So I wonder if like something happens in there is important to either be revealed or not, like, or is going to be revealed in this like next one. I don't know. And also a book that I'm really excited about, Something is Killing the Children number 9 is coming out. So, I love that book.
It's just a great series.
So
Keep it up.
Good. It's so good. I think a lot of folk are going to have a good time with that in trade as well.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people will end up picking it up later on.
Mm-hmm.
But don't let this series die by trade waiting. It's just so good.
Independent comics you should not trade wait on.
No, you really shouldn't. So I do understand though for a lot of folk, like it's a commitment. It's a commitment to an independent company that obviously nothing's connected, like intercompany wise.
Yep.
But a lot of times what they'll do is like a couple of issues in the first or second issue tends to be less if you buy digitally, and so you get an opportunity to try it out before, like, you know, it gets canceled.
Right.
Try before you buy, in that sense.
Absolutely. You should always, if you're going to take a risk it on an independent comic.
Yeah. Also, like, a lot of first volumes from indie companies tend to be less. Like, a lot. Image used to be about $10. I've been seeing 15 more lately.
Yeah. Well, because Image is flooding the market.
Yeah.
And so they need to recoup some of their loss.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, you know, if you are going to pick up that first trade, if it does make it past that, like, it tends to be a good bargain as well.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that's it. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're very lucky to have all of you, and we want to thank you all for, like, you know, supporting us and being cool. If we want to remind you, of course, if you want to help us out, if you want to keep this channel alive, you need to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. You don't need to do those things, but it does help us out if you want to support us in any way you can. If you want to support us even more in depth, you can always go to Patreon at patreon.com/ComicPop. It does help us out over there. And we have early access to videos and weekly updates about what's coming out. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
If you want more, and let me tell you, there's always more here on ComicPop. You can always follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ComicPop and follow Tiffany and watch her play video games Tuesdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
What game were you playing this past week?
This past weekend, we went and played the Marvel's Avengers beta.
Yes.
Which will be reopened for folk, but like there was like
it's an early access PlayStation 4 exclusive.
It was also like if you pre-ordered, which
Right.
I did because we're gonna play. I don't support pre-orders for video games. I don't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but like we were gonna play it no matter what, so I was like, I might as well enjoy the weekend. So we all got to like experience that together, especially because you and I were so like about the game. I'm still kind of but it is a beta.
Yeah.
It's a beta for the game.
I enjoyed playing it when it was like at the fun parts, but I enjoyed watching you play it more. But it wasn't the kind of game where I was like, oh, this is like Bloodborne. Like, it's not a game where I'm like, oh, this is going to be the antithesis of the kind of experience I want to have.
Yeah, no, and like, but I'll be honest with you, putting on superhero costumes made the game more enjoyable.
Right, because and maybe that was all like a brilliant strategy where they were like, make the characters look super lame.
Yeah.
Like as the template, so you want to
they
update
don't all
it.
look super lame, but like
Captain America does.
Well, but I mean, like you get
question.
Kamala Khan, and like she's just wearing like her like
jersey
civilian,
outfit.
like it's just her clothes.
Yes.
So like because it was the beta, and I didn't care about the in-game currency and how often you get it. Like I bought her like Ms. Marvel costume.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay! I'm playing a superhero game. Look, colorful, like costumes running around. But tomorrow I'll be like being a samurai and petting foxes.
Oh.
If I can remember how to play the game.
What game is that called again?
It's Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, cool. Yes, because you were in love with that game.
I am, and it's been like a week
since you played it. And I remember you were like, do we want to add another day to play this game?
I did, and then we lost power.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we consistently keep losing power.
Well, yeah, it's like on and off.
Yeah. By the way, if you would like to check us out, of course, you can catch. If you like the live experience, you can always follow us here. Subscribe to the channel to get updates about when we go live. Because tomorrow on Tuesday, we're gonna have Jason Inman joining me. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite comics, some books that make you feel good. The books you grab when you're looking to feel good.
So not Junji Ito.
Not the kind of Junji Ito stuff, and not the kind of thing I'm sure you'll see some surprises.
I feel good about that sometimes.
I know you do.
Well, I don't live there.
Right. It's
makes
actually
me feel good about me. I'm
right.
Like, I'm not in that situation.
And living in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
That helps.
Yeah. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We're very lucky to have you. Thanks for indulging us in this try where we did this.
We did
thing.
this. I think we'll like nail it next time.
Yeah. How'd you like it?
I liked it. I actually felt more conversational, which I think is why it took so long.
Yes.
Like I was like, oh no, we're just talking.
Right. But it is working, I think.
Yeah, it is.
And
but
the microphone is the reason I did it, because it allows you to do two, like...
There you go.
And I didn't want to have two microphones because I think it's more complicated than actually setting up two freaking cameras.
I guess.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But thank you all
hopefully
so
you
much.
guys liked it too.
Right, that's the thing. The real question is, what did you think?
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments down below if you're catching this after the fact, or if you're catching it live and you're going to wait for it to be repopulated. So either way, let us know how you like this format, or if you have any suggestions of your own, because there's so much more here on ComicPop that we can try or do or have done that we'd like to give to you. So thanks all for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.